Chapter 470. She was worried to death, but he was still not worried. After the examination, Tang Bao thought of Iju and asked Di Hao Ian, "Do you want to see Iju? He hasn't woken up yet." Di Hao Ian stopped and looked at her coldly. "Do you care about him that much? That's your bodyguard. Why do you care so much about my bodyguard?" Di Hao Ian's voice became colder. "Since I'm at the hospital, I might as well take a look. You go, I'll wait outside, okay?" Tang Bao said helplessly. What the hell? He was so overbearing, as if he had lost his memory. Most importantly, he didn't remember her. Why was he so overbearing? Later, Di Hao Ian went to Hiju's ward. She really waited outside the door. However, not long after Di Hao Ian went in, someone came out. The person who came out was not Di Hao Ian, but Wan Malay. Wan Malay. Tang Bao. You. Why are you here? Wan Malay looked a little uncomfortable. It's normal for me to come, but I'm surprised that you're here. Wan Malay continued to look uncomfortable. I just came to take a look. Is it on the way to your home or the company? Both are in the opposite direction, right? Tang Bao smiled and asked, "When did you fall in love with Hiju?" Hey, don't talk nonsense. Wan Malay was afraid that Hiju would hear her, although Hiju was unconscious and couldn't hear her. But how embarrassing would that be? What if he heard her? What nonsense am I talking about? Tell me, when did you have this feeling? What feeling? I like Hiju. I told you not to talk nonsense. When did I like him? Then why did you come here? Didn't you just come here 2 days ago? I was wondering how difficult it was to get you to come here. It turns out that you came every day when I didn't know. Tang Bao, there's a limit to your fantasies, okay? What do you mean by coming every day? When did they come? Today. You came here specially? Yes, I came here to take a look. Anyway, I don't come here every day. Tang Bao smiled. When Hiju wakes up, I'll tell him that you came to see him. Wan Malay didn't know what was wrong with him. Just because he came twice. If he didn't come, he would feel a little uneasy. What kind of mental illness was this? Hiju wasn't her favorite. Poor Hiju. Yes, it's pitiful. Tang Bao was stunned by her words. What do you mean by pitiful? My poor Hiju doesn't have any relatives. Every time he comes, he only has a caretaker, right? As you know, I'm a very compassionate person. Wan Malay tried to excuse himself. I'll still tell Hiju. Wan Malay. After Di Hao Ian entered the ward, he looked at the unconscious person lying on the bed. That face only looked unfamiliar. His personal bodyguard shouldn't have anything to do with Tang Bao, right? Until now, he still didn't know what kind of person Tang Bao was. Thinking of the photo on the internet, Di Hao Ian felt that Tang Bao was an untrustworthy person. If his personal bodyguard woke up, would he believe something that might be contrary to his judgment? That was impossible. Now, he wanted to know why he married Tang Bao in the first place. Because he drugged her? He felt that Lan Wanru's words couldn't be trusted either. Di Hao Ian felt that he would never take responsibility for sleeping with a woman. He would just ignore her, get out of bed, and leave. So what was the reason? After Di Hao Ian and Tang Bao left the castle, he called Di Junbai, and he called outside the castle, in order not to be heard by the servants. Zhongli was one of them, just now. If she hadn't helped Tang Bao, Di Hao Ian wouldn't have let Tang Bao follow him so easily. Anyway, she had to prepare everything. She couldn't let anyone ruin her plans. Brother, I want to tell you something. What? Brother Hao Ian lost his memory. Di Junbai was surprised. Really? Yes, I was wondering why he suddenly treated me so well and was so cold to Tang Bao. It turns out that he doesn't remember Tang Bao, Lan Wanru said. Are you sure? Di Junbai wasn't doubtful. Because Di Hao Ian was a scheming person. Who knew if he was pretending? I'm sure, Lan Wanru said. You don't know. In the castle, Tang Bao is nothing. If Brother Hao Ian really remembers, he won't do this. Brother, I want to marry Brother Hao Ian now. Do you understand what I mean? I know. This is your wish. So, even if you don't help me, don't help Tang Bao, okay? Lan Wanru asked. Aren't you worried that he will regain his memory one day? I don't care so much. Even if we can only be husband and wife for a day. I'm willing, Lan Wanru said affectionately. I'll pretend that I don't know. Di Junbai relented. Thank you, brother. After Di Junbai hung up the phone, he called Di Lingwe. Di Hao Ian's sequela has appeared. What? Amnesia. That's great. Then he won't be able to tell that we did something in tea. Di Lingwe said excitedly. Not necessarily. What? He doesn't look like he has lost his memory. Di Lingwe was stunned. Pretending? What I mean is that his memory loss didn't affect his IQ. He clearly lost his memory, but after he opened his eyes, he covered it up perfectly. His vigilance won't be any less than before, Di Junbai said. Di Lingwe thought for a while and then sneered. At least he doesn't know who harmed him. In the past, I did something to him, so he naturally knew. It's just that he was too confident in himself and didn't expect this to happen. Wanru said that she wants to marry Di Hao Ian, so you don't have to do anything anymore. That's true. If Wanru married Di Hao Ian, wouldn't that mean that everything would come naturally? We won't have to waste so much effort. At this moment, there was a knock on Di Lingyue's office door. He hung up the phone. It was his assistant who came in. Young Master Di is here. Di Lingyue was stunned. Why did he come so quickly? Didn't he say that he was resting at home? He was supposed to go back after the checkup. However, Di Hao Ian said that he wanted to go to tea. Is Zhou Zhishan on good terms with you? Di Hao Ian suddenly asked. Vice President Zhou? He's on good terms with you. You were the one who asked him to go to my company. Tang Bao seemed to have some hope and immediately said, Look, Di Hao Ian, if you don't care about me, why would you arrange for your confidant to go to my company? Do you want him to tell you about our past? No need. Di Hao Ian rejected coldly. Why? Don't you want to know? The more you want to prove yourself, the more problematic it is. I know about Zhou Zhishan. I don't need you to say more. After Di Hao Ian finished speaking, he instructed his secretary to hold a meeting and added, Call him Zhou Zhishan. Chapter 471. What's the problem? Didn't you say that he's my man? Di Hao Ian's face was expressionless, but he has always been in charge of the company. If he goes back to tea, what should I do? She did not want to admit that she was useless, but she wanted to keep up appearances and suffer. Di Hao Ian glanced at her coldly, causing Tang Bao's face to turn red. Di Hao Ian ignored her. After the secretary knocked on the door and entered, they stood up and left the office together. Tang Bao was extremely flustered. At the same time, he was full of admiration for Di Hao Ian. He had lost his memory. He could even have a meeting with the higher-ups. Tang Bao's eyes widened when she heard Di Hao Ian say this to the secretary. What should she do? If Di Hao Ian was really so heartless after losing his memory, would her company still survive? Therefore, Tang Bao was so anxious that her head was about to sweat. After Tang Bao ran out, she saw Zhou Zhishan walking out of the elevator. Vice President Zhou. Tang Bao saw Zhou Zhishan as if he had seen his savior. Zhou Zhishan was stunned when he saw Tang Bao. President Tang, you're here. Tang Bao pulled Zhou Zhishan to the side and said, Vice President Zhou, you must save me. Zhou Zhishan was stunned. You? That didn't seem appropriate, right? President Tang, is it urgent? I have to go to a meeting, Zhou Zhishan said. It's very urgent. Let me tell you, Di Hao Ian has lost his memory. Young Master Di? Zhou Zhishan was surprised. Yes. Tang Bao nodded vigorously. I don't want to admit it either, but he really lost his memory. Then who's going to have a meeting with the higher-ups? Di Hao Ian is going to have a meeting. Zhou Zhishan. It's true. He looks like he hasn't lost his memory, but he really has. So, don't say anything too profound during the meeting later. If Di Lingyue makes things difficult for him, you must help him. Got it? Although Tang Bao was not very clear, Zhou Zhishan understood. He believed that the Tang Bao was not talking nonsense. Thus, he agreed, I understand. And the most important thing, if Di Hao Ian asks you to go back to tea and stop helping me, will you leave me? Tang Bao asked pitifully. Zhou Zhishan looked at her in confusion. Tang Bao went straight to the point. Di Hao Ian, who had lost his memory, was especially cold to me. It was as if he was always plotting against me. Zhou Zhishan was surprised, but he understood. He lost his memory and doesn't remember you. Then, will you not care about me? Tang Bao asked. Just as Zhou Zhishan was about to say something, he noticed Di Lingyue passing by. He smiled at him and walked over. President Tang, I'll go to the meeting first. We'll talk later, Zhou Zhishan said and went to the meeting room. At this critical moment, Tang Bao still wanted Zhou Zhishan to help Di Haoyan. Even she did not know that this was her first instinct. Then she thought about it. If Zhou Zhishan could go to the meeting, why couldn't she? Thinking about it, she was not qualified. After all, the Tang family company was not T's subsidiary company. Only Zhou Zhishan was T's subordinate. Tang Bao could only wait outside anxiously. In the huge meeting room, it was strict and oppressive. The meeting had been going on for half an hour, but there seemed to be nothing wrong with Di Haoyan. However, Di Lingwei would not let Di Haoyan off so easily. After a topic, Di Lingwei said, "Young master, at the end of last year, you said that you wanted to buy an entertainment company. When will this plan be implemented?" Di Haoyan's expression did not change at all. His dark eyes were deep. However, did he forget about such a thing? Or was there really such a thing that he did not find out? However, it was too naive to use this method to test him. Just as he was about to speak, Zhou Zhishan said, "When did young master say that he wanted to buy an entertainment company? It was just a one-sided idea. You mentioned it in front of young master, but he did not agree." At that time, Zhou Zhishan was present. Di Lingwei's expression changed immediately. Zhou Zhishan ruined his plans. However, he immediately acted as if he just remembered. Yes, I forgot. Buying an entertainment company is beneficial. Young master, should we include in the plan? I think Vice President Zhou doesn't have anything else to say, right? Of course I agree if it's for the benefit of the company, Zhou Zhishan said. Yes, I saw you and Tang Bao talking just now. It must be for the benefit of the company, Di Lingwei said without thinking. Zhou Zhishan looked at him with an unpleasant expression. President Tang is my boss. It's normal for him to have instructions. I didn't say anything. Why you have to explain? We're all doing it for work, Di Lingwei said. The atmosphere in the meeting room became tense and silent. Di Haoyan glanced at Di Lingwei with a gloomy gaze. The smug expression on Di Lingwei's face disappeared immediately. He was so shocked that he did not dare to show any expression. After the meeting ended, Di Haoyan stood up and left. No one dared to look at his cold expression. Zhou Zhishan was not without pressure. He naturally knew that this pressure came from the topic just now. Di Haoyan's secretary walked over. Vice President Zhou, young master wants you to go to his office. Okay. Zhou Zhishan looked up and saw the smug smile on Di Lingwei's face. He went to the office and knocked on the door. Di Haoyan was sitting behind the desk, staring at him without blinking. Were you helping me in the meeting room just now? Di Haoyan asked with a cold expression. I was just speaking normally in the meeting room, Zhou Zhishan said. Di Haoyan sneered. Are you sure it was normal? Young master didn't say anything about the acquisition. It was Vice President Di's one-sided decision, Zhou Zhishan said. Di Haoyan looked up slightly with a cold and gloomy face. It seemed that he could not underestimate this Zhou Zhishan. Before entering the meeting room, what did Tang Bao tell you to do? Di Haoyan asked. His gaze was especially sharp. It's about the company. Di Haoyan stared at him coldly. Zhou Zhishan stood there, neither servile nor overbearing. He didn't say anything else. If that's the case, then come back. You don't have to go there anymore. Zhou Zhishan was stunned. Tang Bao said that Di Haoyan was cold to him after he lost his memory. It turned out that it was true, and what he said before was obviously to guard against him. It was even more so now. What was he guarding against? You don't seem to be willing? Di Haoyan's cold voice sounded again. I just don't understand, Zhou Zhishan said. What don't you understand? When young master asked me to go to the Tang family's company, he said that I don't have to go back to tea. Di Haoyan. Young master, what happened? Di Haoyan's face did not change. Nothing could be seen, but it was different in his heart. He did not believe that Tang Bao did not tell Zhou Zhishan about his amnesia. He was indeed someone who followed him. Di Haoyan did not understand. Chapter 472. However, it was hard to say anything in this world. Was he closer to Tang Bao than he thought? Otherwise, why would he pretend not to know anything even though he knew that he had lost his memory? I've changed my mind, Di Haoyan said. It's an order for you to come back. Zhou Zhishan hesitated for a few seconds and said, Okay, I'll go back to tea after I finish my work there. Tang Bao waited outside. She knew that Zhou Zhishan was inside, so it wasn't convenient for her to go in. However, waiting outside wasn't a good idea either. Seeing that no one was paying attention, she pressed her ear against the door, trying to hear the conversation inside. However, she didn't hear anything. She didn't know what they were talking about. Would Di Haoyan let Zhou Zhishan come back? What would she do if he came back? Just as she was eavesdropping, the door opened. Tang Bao straightened up as fast as he could and stood in a well-behaved manner. Zhou Zhishan looked at her. Of course, he saw her behavior just now. She walked out of the office and closed the door. Tang Bao immediately asked in a low voice, How is it? How is it? We'll talk about this when we get back to the company. Then I'll go back to the company now. I'll tell Di Haoyan, Tang Bao said and went in without knocking on the door. Zhou Zhishan. It seemed that she really didn't have the habit of knocking on the door when she entered the office. The young emperor would probably get used to it in the future. When Tang Bao went in, Di Haoyan was answering his phone. For what he said, Tang Bao should be Lan Wanru. Especially when Di Haoyan said at the end, Got it. I'll go back later. After the call ended, Di Haoyan turned around and looked at the person who walked in. His face darkened. Don't you know how to knock before coming in? I've already come in. Why would I knock? You knew I didn't knock when you called? If I had known, I would have said I would have knocked. T's authority was questioned at this moment. Di Haoyan, when are you going back to the castle? Tang Bao asked. What is it? I'll send you back, and then I'll go to the company, Tang Bao said. Di Haoyan looked at her gloomily. Go to the company? She wanted to leave with Zhou Zhishan. Tang Bao felt his scalp tingle under his gaze. He asked cautiously, What's wrong? I'll leave when it's dark. Dark? Tang Bao was stunned. He hadn't even had lunch yet. But you just said on the phone that you would go back later. You should be calling Lan Wanru, right? Since he wanted to go back, he would go back now. Besides, you can't ignore your health just because you did well in the follow-up examination. Tang Bao said. Di Haoyan looked at her coldly. Do you really care about my body? Of course. Di Haoyan withdrew his sharp eyes with a gloomy face. He did not speak, but the atmosphere was frighteningly oppressive. Di Haoyan, what's wrong with you? Did he say something unpleasant to Zhou Zhishan? If that was the case, Tang Bao would be even more worried. Zhou Zhishan would be gone by the time she returned to the company. You can leave, Di Haoyan said expressionlessly as he looked at the documents in his hands. What about you? Tang Bao asked. Seeing that Di Haoyan did not say a word, she said, Are you going to stay here alone? How can you do that? Di Haoyan was still recovering. She was worried. Sigh. Di Haoyan was not so diligent in the past. He stayed in the castle and did not go to tea. He even arrogantly said that tea would not go bankrupt. Now he was a bandit. He was still sick, but he was diligent. Di Haoyan, go back and rest. Tea will not go bankrupt if you're not here for a few days. Tang Bao was about to beg him. Shut up. Di Haoyan's dark eyes swept over her sharply. Tang Bao was speechless. If Di Haoyan did not go back to the castle, Tang Bao could not leave either. She could only stay in the office and accompany him. Seriously, didn't he also promise Lan Wanru to go back? Although she was very happy that Di Haoyan did not go back because of Lan Wanru's words. However, Tang Bao hoped that Di Haoyan could go back and rest well. That would be good for recovering his memory, right? She could also go to the company to look for Zhou Zhishan. She did not know what Di Haoyan was thinking. She could not tell at all. Why did he not go back to the castle? Sigh. Tang Bao sighed in her heart. If only she could tell. She did not need to ask Zhou Zhishan. She could just look at Di Haoyan's expression. Then, she quietly took out her phone and sent a message to Wan Malay. Tang Bao, has Zhou Zhishan returned to the company? After a while. Wan Malay, I don't know. I'm in the office. What's wrong? Tang Bao, go and see if he's there. What's he doing? Then tell him that I might not have time to go to the company. But I'll definitely look for him tomorrow. Wan Malay, got it. Tang Bao finished sending the message and was ready to wait. When she looked up, she saw Di Haoyan's sharp black eyes looking at her gloomily. Her little hands trembled in fear. What was he doing? How long had he been staring at her like this? Didn't he know that it was scary? Are you going back? Tang Bao asked with a dry smile on her face. Di Haoyan looked away coldly. He did not say anything, but the pressure in the air seemed to be particularly sticky. No matter how hard she tried, she could not disperse it. Di Haoyan's face was cold. He did not say a word. Was Tang Bao texting Zhou Zhishan? What were they talking about? Ding! The sound of a text message. Tang Bao was about to look at it. She saw Di Haoyan suddenly get up without saying a word and walk towards her. Tang Bao was shocked. She stared blankly at the shadow that was pressing towards her. Tang Bao fell back uncontrollably. However, her hand was empty. Her phone was taken away. Di Haoyan turned around with the phone and threw it directly into the cup of water. Tang Bao was in too much disbelief, so her reaction was slow for a few seconds. When she came to her senses, she hurriedly rushed towards the cup of water. My phone. She reached out and fished out the phone, but it was too late. The phone was filled with water. When she picked it up, the water kept dripping. Di Haoyan, what are you doing? My phone is not waterproof. Tang Bao cried out in despair. Di Haoyan, who had returned to his seat, looked at her coldly and said, Noisy. Tang Bao opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Just because she sent a few text messages? How could he be so cruel? You could have muted my phone. I just bought it. I haven't used it for long. Tang Bao said angrily. Di Haoyan ignored her and continued to bury himself in his work. Tang Bao bit her lip and fiddled with her phone, feeling wronged. It cannot be turned on anymore. Naturally, she could not see the text messages from Wan Malay, not to mention making a call. Her phone was destroyed by Di Haoyan just like that. Lan Wanru was waiting in the castle. It was almost lunchtime. Di Haoyan was still not back yet. Didn't he say that he would come back for lunch? He should have come back on time. Lan Wanru could not help but call Di Junbai. Brother, is Brother Haoyan still at tea? Yes. What's the matter? Chapter 473. He might have something to deal with. Don't worry about his health. Tang Bao is with him. Di Junbai said. What? Tang Bao has always been by Brother Haoyan's side? Lan Wanru immediately became angry. She was wondering why Di Haoyan hadn't come back yet. It must be because Tang Bao did something that Di Haoyan didn't return to the castle. Don't think too much. He won't go back at noon. He'll go back after lunch. Don't worry. Di Junbai said. After hanging up the phone, Lan Wanru couldn't stop the anger in her heart. Di Haoyan was so cold to Tang Bao. What was the point of her shamelessly sticking to him? Looking at the time, Di Haoyan definitely wouldn't come back for lunch. He was still in tea at this time. Lan Wanru could have eaten alone. However, she turned around and was about to leave the hall and go upstairs. Miss Lan, aren't you going to eat? Lian asked. I'm not eating. After saying that, Lan Wanru went upstairs. Zhongli walked behind Lian and said unhappily, Supervisor, do you like Miss Lan here very much? Lian turned around and looked at her. What do you want to say? Why did you ask her to eat? She will eat if she wants to. Do you want young Master D and Miss Lan to be together? If they really are together, what do you want to do? Or rather, what is our turn to do? Zhongli knew in her heart, but she still felt uncomfortable in her heart. Didn't I tell you that we don't need to care about this kind of thing? Lian reminded her again. This was for her own good, because Lan Wanru was different from Tang Bao. Zhongli didn't speak, but her face was unconvinced. Did you hear that? Lian asked. I heard it. Zhongli reluctantly agreed. In the office of authority, which was so quiet that no one dared to breathe, there was a discordant sound. It was the sound of hunger. Di Haoyan's dark eyes flickered as he stared at the information. Tang Bao blushed as he touched his flat stomach. Then, she looked at Di Haoyan, who was sitting behind the desk motionlessly. With a little grievance, she said, Di Haoyan, my stomach is flat. It's concave. Di Haoyan said nothing. Di Haoyan, shall we go for dinner? Aren't you hungry? I haven't eaten in tea yet. Will you take me there? Tang Bao asked. She had heard that the food in tea was very good. Di Haoyan still ignored her, but he called his secretary to prepare lunch. Then he stood up. A smile immediately appeared on Tang Bao's face. She followed Di Hao Yin out of the office. But the place they went to was not the restaurant. Instead, it was a private room. It was not far away from Di Hao Yin's office. As soon as they entered, the secretary arranged for the dishes to be served. As Tang Bao looked at the dishes on the table, his mouth was overflowing with saliva. She seemed to have just understood that Di Hao Yin did not eat in the restaurant and tea. Instead, he had his own private dining room. Therefore, it was not unreasonable that no one dared to sit on the same level as Di Hao Yin. Tang Bao picked a seat and sat down. Then, she realized that Di Hao Yin had not sat down yet. She turned her head and saw Di Hao Yin looking at her with a cold expression. "What's wrong?" Tang Bao asked in confusion. Di Hao Yin did not say anything and sat down. Tang Bao continued to stare at the dishes. "I'm drooling." The more Di Hao Yin looked at Tang Bao, the more he did not know why he married her. He must have been crazy in the past. In the past, he had lost his memory. Now, he had recovered his memory. Hearing Di Hao Yin's words, Tang Bao quickly wiped away her saliva. However, she did not wipe it. When she met Di Hao Yin's dark and indifferent eyes, she realized that she had been deceived. "There's no saliva. You lied to me. However, there's saliva in my mouth. Why don't you block my saliva with delicious food?" As Tang Bao spoke, she picked up her chopsticks and said, "I want to eat." Then, she stuffed a piece of meat in her mouth. She immediately felt that it was delicious. Di Hao Yin looked at her coldly. He increasingly felt that there was a reason why he had married Tang Bao. He really could not figure out why he had married her. No one dared to ignore his deterrence when she acted so presumptuously in front of him. Even if it was Lan Wanru, she wouldn't dare to eat if he didn't move his chopsticks after she sat down at the table. Tang Bao, on the other hand, did not have this burden at all. "What's wrong? You're not eating?" Tang Bao realized that Di Hao Yin was staring at her without blinking, and his expression was very unpleasant. She immediately understood what was going on. "The doctor said that you can't eat meat and that it should be bland. Bear with it for a while. It's good for your brain recovery." Di Hao Yin glanced at her coldly and looked away. He reached out his chopsticks to the delicately juiced meat. When Tang Bao saw this, she immediately used her chopsticks to block Di Hao Yin's chopsticks. Di Hao Yin glanced at her sharply. "What's wrong with you? The more I say, the more you want to eat it?" "I already told you that you can't eat it," Tang Bao said. "I'll decide whether to eat it or not." "No, if you decide, you'll definitely eat it all. Didn't you hear what the doctor said during the follow-up examination today? You have to eat bland food." Tang Bao reminded him of the doctor's words again. "Are you trying to control me?" Di Hao Yin's expression was a little gloomy, and there was a strong sense of oppression. Tang Bao's nerves were sensitively tense. She suppressed her fear and shook her head. "I'm not trying to control you. I'm doing this for your own good. Don't you want to recover quickly, or even recover your memory?" Di Hao Yin's expression did not change. He thought in his heart, the last sentence is right. He wanted to recover his memory and then find out why he married Tang Bao. Di Hao Yin put away his chopsticks with an unpleasant expression. "I don't have to eat it." Tang Bao's expression relaxed. "It's great that you can think it through. You're not allowed to eat it either." Tang Bao was speechless. "Why? Can't you do it?" Di Hao Yin looked at her coldly. Tang Bao glanced at the delicious food on the table again and again, as if she was making a difficult decision. Di Hao Yin stared at her. He thought coldly, she definitely can't do it. The way she ate just now looked like she hadn't eaten meat for hundreds of years. That bite must be easier to arouse the gluttony in her stomach. Tang Bao suddenly stood up. She walked out of the office. She said to the secretary outside, "Excuse me, can you come in and remove all the meat on the table?" The secretary walked into the office and looked at Di Hao Yin, who was sitting there motionlessly with a cold expression. She asked, "Young master, do you want to remove the meat?" Di Hao Yin's expression became even more unsightly. He spat out two words, "Remove it." "Yes." Tang Bao sat at the dining table and watched the secretary remove all the plates of meat. She kept swallowing her saliva. There was also regret in her heart. When she took the first bite just now, she didn't pick the largest piece. If she had known, she would have eaten the whole plate in one bite. Di Hao Yian's sharp eyes clearly saw the greed on Tang Bao's face. When Tang Bao asked the secretary to remove the meat, he was surprised. Chapter 474. Now, she was actually watching helplessly as she refused to eat meat with him. Di Hao Yan didn't know what was going on in his head either. Or perhaps something was churning in his heart. Looking at Tang Bao's petite face, his thin lips said, "Enough." The secretary, who was about to take the last plate of meat away, was stunned and immediately understood what he meant. She withdrew her hand, but Tang Bao didn't understand. She immediately jumped up anxiously. No, take it all away. Don't leave a single plate." "Are you sure?" Di Hao Tian asked. "I'm sure." Tang Bao nodded vigorously. Di Hao Yan waved his hand, and the secretary took the last plate of meat away. Tang Bao's heart was bleeding, but she still pursed her lips tightly and pretended to be indifferent. She smiled at Di Hao Yan and said, "You can eat now. Eat as much as you want." She would just make do with it. Di Hao Qian ate calmly and said casually again, "The last plate of meat is for you." Puffed. Tang Bao directly spat out the vegetables in her mouth. If she hadn't restrained herself, she would have hit the other side of the table. Di Hao Yan was very satisfied with Tang Bao's reaction. Tang Bao was very excited. "Why didn't you say so earlier?" "Why should I say so earlier? If you didn't tell me, how would I know that you were giving it to me?" Tang Bao pouted and felt wronged. Then she stood up. "I'll ask her to bring it back." "Sit down," Di Hao Yan ordered. Tang Bao's body stiffened. Then she sat down and looked at Di Hao Yan pitifully. "Can't you bring it back?" "No." Tang Bao's heart bled again. She had only eaten a bite of meat. Forget it. She'd better not eat it. She had just promised Di Hao Yan that she wouldn't eat it. If he continued to eat, he would be going back on his word. Tang Bao, who had gotten over it, said to Di Hao Yan cheerfully, "Di Hao Yan, I won't eat it, really. Not only that, from today onwards, whenever you can eat meat, I will eat it." Di Hao Yan's dark eyes were slightly stunned. He looked at Tang Bao's fair and beautiful face, which was full of innocence. His heart could not help but tremble, causing him to frown in discomfort and withdraw his gaze. Tang Bao saw that there was something wrong with his expression and hurriedly asked, "What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell again?" Di Hao Yan, who had calmed down, looked at her with his dark eyes. "You really don't want to eat?" "I'm not eating. Even if you eat it behind my back, I won't be able to see it. So you don't have to say such things." Tang Bao rolled her watery eyes and said, "How about I follow you around 24 hours a day? That way, you'll know if I did." "No need." Tang Bao pouted. She wanted to play a little trick so that she could be with Di Hao Yan every day. She was actually rejected. "Then how will you know if I've eaten meat? What if you use the excuse that you don't know if I've eaten meat and eat meat at the dining table?" Tang Bao asked. Only Di Hao Yan would be able to tolerate it if he listened to the doctor. "Take care of yourself." Di Hao Yan only said this sentence coldly. Tang Bao thought that she would definitely be able to take care of herself. "I will take care of myself, and I will also take care of you," Tang Bao solemnly said to Di Hao Yan. Di Hao Yan snorted coldly and did not say anything. It seemed that lunch without meat was not very attractive to Tang Bao. She became more talkative. "Di Hao Yan, there's something I want to ask you. You won't really transfer Zhou Zhishan back, right?" Tang Bao asked. Di Hao Yan immediately lost his appetite, and his face suddenly turned cold. "Is there a problem? If Zhou Zhishan is not in the company, it will be very hard for me," Tang Bao said pitifully. "Is it hard for you to work, or to not see him work hard?" "Di Hao Yan, if you don't want to eat, stand outside the door." Tang Bao was extremely depressed. What did she say? Didn't she just ask Zhou Zhishan not to be transferred back? What did she mean by not seeing Zhou Zhishan work hard? In the past, Di Hao Yan's domineering attitude was especially scary. After he lost his memory, he was even worse. He started to implicate the innocent. It was as if in Di Hao Yan's heart, she was the kind of woman who was promiscuous. She was very wronged, okay? She just didn't know if Di Hao Yan would be the same if she hugged a male dog. But could she say that Di Hao Ian's domineering attitude towards her was because of possessiveness? However, when Lan Wanru slept in the master bedroom, she asked if Di Junbai could lend in the bed if he was not feeling well. Di Hao Ian's answer was whatever. Then, Di Hao Ian's current reaction was not that he cared. Then what was it? She couldn't understand. At this moment, Di Hao Ian's cell phone rang. The cell phone was on the desk. Di Hao Ian stood up to answer the call, and his expression immediately changed. Got it. After that, he hung up the phone. Di Hao Ian, what happened? Tang Bao saw that Di Hao Ian's expression was not right and hurriedly asked. Di Hao Ian did not say anything. He just put on his coat with a serious expression and walked out of the office. Tang Bao did not know what was wrong with him. Di Hao Ian did not say anything. But looking at his expression, it should be very serious, right? She did not dare to neglect, picked up her bag, and followed him without eating. The car returned to the castle. Di Hao Ian did not say anything along the way. The atmosphere in the car was oppressive. Tang Bao wanted to ask several times, but he did not ask. The car stopped in the castle. As soon as the car stopped, Di Hao Ian got out of the car. Tang Bao quickly chased after him. However, after a few steps, he stopped and watched Di Hao Ian enter the hall, and then his figure disappeared from his sight. Her heart kept sinking, as if there was no end. She didn't go in because she understood why Di Hao Ian had rushed back in such a hurry. She was still worried about Di Hao Ian like a fool. Was she going to go in and see how Di Hao Ian looked like when he stayed by Lan Wanru's bedside? Would she be able to be calm and say, Di Hao Ian is just sick? Thinking about it was one thing, but seeing it with her own eyes was another. Tang Bao did not even go into the hall. He just stood outside and looked into the distance. She thought about how Di Hao Ian was now in the bedroom with Lan Wanru. She felt like her heart was being pricked by needles, and she could not stop it. The sourness kept surging up until it reached her eyes. Tang Bao blinked and held back his tears. She did not want to cry, because it was useless. She was only like this because of the discomfort in her body. She did not know how long he stood outside, but another car drove in. Tang Bao came back to his senses and turned around. It was Yu Songwan's car. He must have come for the sake of Lan Wanru's health. Everyone's thoughts were on Lan Wanru, as if he was the young madam, and she was nothing. She was even a thorn in his side. After Yu Songwan got out of the car, he saw Tang Bao looking at him like a thorn in his side. Chapter 475. Tang Bao did not say anything either. She thought that since Di Hao Ian was back, he could rest. She did not have to worry about him anymore. Besides, Yu Songhuan was still around. She knew that Yu Songhuan could be mean to anyone, but he would never harm his own son. Tang Bao thought that the most important thing for her to do now was to look for Zhou Zhishan. The company's matters could not be delayed either. Thus, she turned and left. Yu Songhuan entered the bedroom. Di Hao Ian sat on the edge of the bed. Lan Wanru was being fed medicine by a servant. What's going on? Why did she faint again? Did she not take her medicine on time? Yu Songhuan turned to the servant and asked, Tell me, why did Miss Lan faint for no reason? Miss Lan didn't have lunch, the servant replied. Why didn't you eat? Can you not eat with your health? Yu Songhuan could not help but gently reprimand her. I'm sorry, Auntie, Brother Hao Ian. I didn't do it on purpose. I saw that Brother Hao Ian did not come back and was worried about his health, so I wanted to eat later. I didn't expect this to happen either. Lan Wanru was obviously lying. She did not eat on purpose. She also fainted on purpose. She did not want Di Hao Ian and Tang Bao to spend another day in tea. Who knew if their relationship would rekindle if they stayed like this for a long time? You silly child, why didn't you take care of your own health? I know you care about Hao Ian, but you can't not care about your own health. If you break it, will your brother Hao Ian not care about you anymore? Yu Songhuan said tenderly. I'm sorry, Auntie, Brother Hao Ian. I'll be more careful next time. I was just worried that Brother Hao Ian would not rest well, so I wanted to eat later. I didn't expect this to happen. I won't do it again, Lan Wanru said in a low voice. She looked so pitiful. Outside the room, Yu Songhuan asked Di Hao Ian, Did he come back from the checkup? Where did he go? Tea. Even if you go to tea, you can't stay too long. Your health is more important. When Yu Song-hwan saw that Di Hao-yin was silent, he knew that Di Hao-yin did not like to meddle in his business. So, he changed the topic. Did Tang Bao accompany you to the hospital for a checkup? When she came in just now, she saw Tang Bao standing outside and knew that she had accompanied him. Di Hao-yin's black eyes dimmed. Yes, she's your wife. It's only right for her to accompany you. However, I still have to remind you when it's time to rest. Even if you married her because you wanted to repay her kindness, you should put your husband first. Di Hao-yin's eyebrows moved slightly. Repay a favor? What was there to repay? I know you don't remember anything now. I can tell you what happened back then. In the end, it's my fault. Otherwise, how could you ruin your own happiness? I've always felt guilty toward you and your father because of this. This is why I don't like Tang Bao, Yu Song-hwan said with a sigh. Di Hao-yin did not say anything. He looked at Yu Song-hwan. It was obvious that he also wanted to know why he married Tang Bao. Tang Bao likes to steal things. You don't remember this, do you? More than 10 years ago, Tang Bao stole my wallet and saved me from being blown up in that mall. Your father and I went to the mall to buy things. Tang Bao stole my wallet. Naturally, I had to chase after him. Not long after I chased after him, the mall was blown up. I survived, but your father died. Yu Song-hwan's heart still ached when he recalled the past. He calmed himself down and continued. So you married Tang Bao because he saved my life. What did she do to deserve to marry you? Just because she's a thief? Maybe you don't fully believe what I said because you've lost your memory now. However, you can check it out. That's not the only time Tang Bao stole. She's a repeat offender. Di Hao-yin was stunned. He pursed his lips and did not say a word. This was very different from what he had imagined. He actually married Tang Bao because of this? Was it just a coincidence that she drugged him? Di Hao-yin believed that he would not take responsibility for a woman just because he slept with her. So, was it just to repay a favor like this? Compared to Wanru, the two of you are childhood sweethearts who grew up together. If Tang Bao didn't appear, the person you married would be Wanru. Yu Song-hwan was even more straightforward. Di Hao-yin's dark eyes remained calm. So, in the end, he still married Tang Bao to repay a favor. Yet, he was still entangled with Lan Wanru. He just could not figure out. Since he had feelings for Lan Wanru, why was he willing to marry Tang Bao? Who could force him? Unless it was himself. He pretended to be pure and indifferent in front of her. Was it to mislead her that he had always been with her? Gu Linxin and Yu Song-hwan did not have any interactions, but the words they said happened to coincide. This caused his judgment to be damaged halfway through. Actually, the attack on you is also related to Tang Bao, Yu Song-hwan said again. Di Hao-yin came back to his senses and looked sharply at Yu Song-hwan. At that time, Yu and Tang Bao proposed a divorce. She did not want to get a divorce, so she ran away from home to avoid it. But you were determined to divorce her, so you chased after her. If you had gotten a divorce from the start, how could this have happened to you? Anyway, it's all Tang Bao's fault. You were right to divorce her, and I will support you. Di Hao-yin looked away. The outline of a knife became sharper. There was something else that he found strange. It seemed that no one knew that he was married, except for the Di family and some people who were closer to him. If he really wanted to marry Tang Bao, why did he not let everyone know that she was Tang Bao's young madam? Hao-yin, what are you thinking now? You are my biological son. I will not harm you. Yu Song-hwan looked at Di Hao-yin, who was calm and collected, and asked again, Don't you trust me? I didn't say that. In that case, don't hesitate. Just divorce Tang Bao. Yu Song-hwan said straightforwardly. Di Hao-yin's dark eyes darkened. There was no doubt that he should divorce Tang Bao. However, while he was thinking about this, his heart was beating uncomfortably. It was unbearable, as if he was about to lose something. Are you still going to be merciful to her? She has already caused you to be in this state. I think she has no intention of repentance at all. Yu Song-hwan said unhappily. Di Hao-yin thought that not only did Tang Bao not have any intention of repentance, she did not even mention it. But when he thought about his divorce with Tang Bao, he felt that it was not his original intention. Then, was there anything he needed to clarify? What was it? Hao-yin, stop talking. Di Hao Ian interrupted Yu Songwan. I will be careful. Chapter 476. But Di Hao Ian obviously didn't want to talk about this topic. So he didn't say anything and turned to go into the bedroom to see Lan Wanru. Di Hao Ian's eyes were cold as he stared straight ahead. Everyone was sending him a message that there was no need for his marriage with Tang Bao to exist. Everything was a mistake. Di Hao Ian felt his head begin to hurt again. That kind of face, that kind of gaze, that kind of expression, were they all confusing him and making him lose his ability to judge? Young master, asked Tang Bao to come over. Di Hao Ian's voice was cold. Lian thought for a moment and said, Young master, young madam is not in the castle. Di Hao Ian's fingers that were massaging his temples paused. Then he turned his face and shot a sharp look at Lian. Young madam was still outside before, but when I went out just now, she had already gone out. She didn't say where she was going. Lian felt that Di Hao Ian's emotions were even more unstable after losing his memory, and they were even more cautious as servants. She didn't say where she was going. Di Hao Ian didn't even need to think to know where she was going. She must have rushed to her company when he wasn't paying attention. He wanted to see when Zhou Zhishan would finish his work and return to tea. Di Hao Ian thought of Tang Bao and Zhou Zhishan being in the company together, and the irritation in his heart came again. The veins on the back of his hand that was holding the guardrail bulged. Tang Bao went straight to Zhou Zhishan's company after going to the company. Naturally, it was the same habit as before. He didn't knock and just pushed the door open. Inside, Zhou Zhishan was sorting out documents on the computer. What surprised him wasn't the door that was opened without permission. It was Tang Bao. I heard from Assistant One that you're not coming today, Zhou Zhishan said. How can I not come? I'm worried. When she noticed Zhou Zhishan looking at her eyebrows, she immediately added, almost. She was not in the mood to explain the other reason she had come to the company. She wouldn't refute it if he said that she ran away, because it had already happened, and she was powerless to change it. Zhou Zhishan knew why she was so anxious. His eyes were filled with helplessness. Zhou Zhishan, tell me the truth. Why is Di Hao Ian looking for you? They didn't ask you to go back to tea, did they? Tang Bao asked. Why do you ask? Has the young master mentioned it to you? Tang Bao was so annoyed that he plopped down on the sofa. I told you. He has lost his memory now. He is very cold to me, so it's not surprising that he asked you to go back. But Tang Bao looked at Zhou Zhishan pitifully. If you go back, what about me? Let me teach you. Tang Bao stood up abruptly. Are you really going back to tea? This is the young master's order. I can't disobey. You know, although I am a shareholder of tea, the young master is the only one who has the right to decide and control, Zhou Zhishan said. Although Tang Bao knew that this was the truth and she had no choice, her helplessness made her hesitate. In the past, no matter how angry Di Hao Ian was with her, he would never let Zhou Zhishan leave the company. Right now, he was really forcing her into a corner. CEO Tang Bao looked at Zhou Zhishan bitterly. I thought that you would have some feelings after staying here for so long. It hurts my heart to leave just like that. The company is the only thing my father left for me. I can't let the company close down. If it closes down, how can I face my father? Wah. Tang Bao opened his mouth and started to cry. Zhou Zhishan rubbed his forehead. CEO Tang, you can go. I won't stop you. You can't force a melon to be sweet, Tang Bao said as she wiped her tears. Although I'm leaving, I'll help you find someone to replace me. Zhou Zhishan felt that if he didn't say it out loud, Tang Bao's tears would wash away his office. What did you say? Tang Bao was stunned and stopped crying. I've already found someone for you. You don't have to worry about their ability and loyalty. Also, you know this person, Zhou Zhishan said. Who is it? Tang Bao asked. Did she know someone who had the ability to work? No, right? If there was, wouldn't she have poached them a long time ago? Just as she was feeling puzzled, the office door was pushed open without any respect, just like when Tang Bao came. Tang Bao stared blankly at Yu Lian, who walked in her 10-inch high heels that made her legs look long and slender. She was dressed in professional attire. Why are you here? Don't tell me the person Zhou Zhishan was talking about is you? Tang Bao asked in disbelief. Did I disappoint you? Yu Yanlian flipped her hair seductively. But aren't you a celebrity? Tang Bao continued to be puzzled. How did a celebrity become a white-collar worker? In the future, I might not be. Yu Yanlian looked at Zhou Zhishan bitterly. Zhou Zhishan acted as if he didn't see it and explained to Tang Bao, she and I are husband and wife, and we're classmates. She's not bad at work. I told her about the job I transferred to her. She has the ability to adapt. Then he looked at Yu Yanlian. You're 10 minutes late. It's good enough that I can come. Yu Yanlian raised her eyebrows. You can leave, Zhou Zhishan said. Yu Yanlian's anger immediately deflated. I'm not leaving. Tang Bao looked left and right as the two of them talked back and forth. He felt a little overwhelmed. She knew Zhou Zhishan's ability to work. Therefore, the person he found was definitely not a problem. She was just too surprised. It was obvious. Yu Yanlian was forced to come. Yu Yanlian had told her and Wan Malay before that she liked being a celebrity and the feeling of standing under the spotlight. Now, she was locked in an office without any spotlights. Could she bear it? Tang Bao asked Zhou Zhishan uncertainly. Do you really want to do this? Have you decided? Zhou Zhishan looked at Tang Bao and said, President Tang, after the handover, Yu Yanlian will be Vice President Yu. I will also supervise her for a period of time, so don't worry. In the future, Yu Yanlian's salary will be paid by the company. What do you mean? Isn't your salary paid by the company? Tang Bao was confused and asked. It's T, also known as Di Haotian. Tang Bao didn't expect that Zhou Zhishan's salary would be paid by T. She thought that it was in her company. At first, she thought that the salary of someone with such ability must be very high. Because she was afraid to see how high the salary was, she didn't dare to ask the finance department. She was afraid that she would faint from shock. Tang Bao leaned toward Zhou Zhishan and asked in a low voice, Is her salary expensive? She couldn't be blamed for asking so anxiously. Chapter 477. I'll pay according to the market price. Don't worry. Market price. Tang Bao thought that it was far from the income of a celebrity. President Tang, I'm handing over the work. You listen too, Zhou Zhishan said. Okay. Then Tang Bao and Yu Yanlian listened to Zhou Zhishan handing over the work as if it was a meeting. Then she realized that Yu Yanlian's work ability was indeed not bad. At least, it was much better than hers. She understood as soon as he said it. Tang Bao sat there as if she was just making up the numbers. However, she still listened attentively. Only then did she realize that her company was quite big, but she didn't know that it was thanks to T. However, without T, would the company become smaller and smaller in the end? Tang Bao knew that no matter how hard she worked, she wouldn't be able to win against Di Haotian. However, she might work hard to keep the company from closing down and even make money. Go get some water, Zhou Zhishan instructed after he finished speaking. I want coffee. Tang Bao instinctively wanted to go, but she didn't expect Yu Yanlian to stand up. When she stood up, her posture of twisting her waist to clear her meridians was very seductive. It was as if any of her actions were seductive. There was no coffee machine in the office, so she had to go outside the office. After Yu Yanlian went out, Tang Bao realized that Zhou Zhishan's eyes didn't even look at Yu Yanlian's seductive posture. President Tang, it's okay if you don't understand. You can ask Yu Yanlian in the future. Tang Bao wondered if she could say it. Wasn't she a little confused? However, she thought of another question. After a moment of silence, she asked, Zhou Zhishan, why are you helping me so much? I believe that this isn't Di Haotian's instructions. Zhou Zhishan looked at her and said, I just don't want the young emperor to accuse me of other crimes after he recovers his memory. What crimes? Tang Bao asked. Knowingly committing a crime. I don't quite understand. Tang Bao shook her head with a confused expression. I know you're a well-known lawyer. Can you not be so profound? You'll understand in the future. The handover process was complicated, so it wouldn't be over in a short period of time. The handover would take place the next day. It was only then that Tang Bao understood how tiring a vice president's job was. No wonder Zhou Zhishan often worked overtime. While Zhou Zhishan was taking things from the lounge, Tang Bao approached Yu Lian and asked, "Why are you willing to work here? Did Zhou Zhishan force you? Can you tell?" Yu Lian lazily sat on the sofa and asked, quite clearly, "What did I force you to do?" Tang Bao wanted to get to the bottom of it, because he really didn't understand what kind of terrible coercion could make Yu Lian give up such a good starry road. "Guess," Yu Lian asked. "I know. Because of your feelings for Zhou Zhichen, you agreed when he asked you to come over," Tang Bao said. "Guess again. Zhou Zhichen has something on you in the past that he used to threaten you." Tang Bao looked at Yu Lian's expression and asked, "Isn't that right?" "What's that?" "Remarry." "Oh, you haven't remarried yet?" Tang Bao was extremely surprised. She thought that they had remarried long ago. It was just that Zhou Zhichen was a low-key person and didn't tell anyone. "Do you think I'm a failure?" Yu Lian asked. "What do you mean? Not only have I not remarried Zhou Zhichen, but he's also threatening me with this matter." Yu Lian's face was full of resentment. "Then you don't have to be threatened." Before Tang Bao could finish speaking, Yu Lian looked over. "I'm willing. Can't you see that I'm very happy?" Tang Bao shook his head. "That's because you don't see it clearly enough," Yu Lian said. "Do you know how difficult it was for me to remarry Zhou Zhishan? It was as if I wanted to die in front of him, but he was indifferent. But now I have this opportunity, and he agreed to remarry on the condition that I work in your company and leave the entertainment industry." "You agree just like that?" Tang Bao asked. "Would I be here if I didn't agree?" Yu Lian asked angrily. "Then do you regret it?" Tang Bao asked. "You actually didn't have to come. Do I have any other choice?" If Yu Lian wasn't afraid that Zhou Zhishan would hear her, she really wanted to shout. Tang Bao pursed his lips and felt that it was better not to continue asking for the sake of Yu Lian's mood. Otherwise, she would be so angry that her blood vessels would burst. Tang Bao suddenly calmed down and looked at Yu Lian. "You're so lucky." "Lucky, yes. At least you still have a chance to choose. Don't you think that such a choice is very lucky? Because you'll get what you want in the end. As for being a celebrity, this is something you can have at any time, and once you miss out on someone, it might be for the rest of your life." Tang Bao looked at Yu Lian seriously. Just like her and Di Haoyan. In such a situation, how could she choose? The choice had to be under the same treatment as the other party, and not be normal or amnesiac. There wouldn't be a sense of inequality, and in the end, there wouldn't be any response. That would be the most painful. Yu Lian, who was still unconvinced and couldn't figure it out, was relieved by Tang Bao's words. That's right. Wasn't remarriage what she had always wanted? So what if she didn't want to be a celebrity? Capturing Zhou Zhishan was the most important thing. Yu Lian had a smile on her face. This was the first smile she had had since she entered the office. "Thank you," Yu Lian said. Tang Bao said with a smile, No. I'm the one who's sorry for trapping you here. I have to thank you properly. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to handle it after Zhou Zhishan left. With you here, I'm relieved." Yu Lian had no regrets at all now. She looked at Tang Bao with a smile on her face and said, "You must be very sad that the young emperor lost his memory, but don't worry for too long. He'll recover. If he doesn't, he'll only become an idiot." Looking at the young emperor, he definitely won't. It's just that during this period of time, you might have to work a little harder. "So you're very happy?" Tang Bao nodded and said with understanding. Zhou Zhishan walked out of the lounge and saw the different atmosphere in the office. Yu Lian also had a smile on her face. This was all thanks to Tang Bao. Although in Zhou Zhishan's eyes, Tang Bao was almost a good-for-nothing and was just a decoration in the company. However, Tang Bao had a treasure that no one else had. Because of his kind heart, Zhou Zhishan was willing to help her like this, breaking his principle of not helping people if they didn't have money. The sky gradually darkened. Tang Bao saw that Zhou Zhishan and Yu Lian were still handing over work, as expected of husband and wife. "It's almost time to eat. I'll go and get something for you guys to eat first," Tang Bao said. "No need," Yu Lian refused. Then, she looked at Zhou Zhishan. "There's definitely a lot of work to be handed over today. Why don't you make curry rice for me when we go back later? Chapter 478. Yes, but after eating so much, your cooking is still the best. Yu Yinlian smiled. Zhou Zhishan didn't say anything. He turned his gaze and said to Tang Bao, "Come back tomorrow. It's very late. You should go back. We'll leave later too." "Okay then. See you tomorrow." Tang Bao felt like a third wheel in the office. The conversation between Yu Lianlian and Zhou Zhishan just now touched her. Sometimes, two people separated didn't mean that they didn't have feelings for each other. Maybe it had already been engraved in their hearts. Even after thousands of twists and turns, she still couldn't forget her own. Tang Bao was a little happy in her heart. Had she accidentally stumbled upon a wonderful thing? Not bad. Tang Bao. Wan Malay saw a familiar figure when she walked to the elevator after work. Tang Bao turned around and looked at Wan Malay. "You're at the company?" "I came over after lunch," Tang Bao said. "You've been in Vice President Zhou's office all this time?" Wan Malay asked. "Yes, Vice President Zhou is going back to tea. Yu Lianlian came to take over his work, so I've been handing over the work. After the handover, we'll have a meeting tomorrow." Wan Malay wasn't surprised that Yu Lianlian took over Zhou Zhishan's work. Instead, Zhou Zhishan was going back to tea. She asked in disbelief, "Is this what the young master wants? Who else can order Zhou Zhishan around other than him? But it's okay now. With Yu Lianlian around, I don't have to worry too much." Wan Malay looked at the relaxed expression on Tang Bao's face and thought that she really didn't have to worry about who would replace her. What really made her feel bad was the young master's decision. Was he really going to be so heartless after losing his memory? Even if Tang Bao was forcing herself to be in a good mood, Wan Malay couldn't bear to expose her scars. "Since we've met, let's have a meal together?" Wan Malay asked. Tang Bao was stunned. Was she going back to the castle to eat? Is it time for dinner in the castle? Then, did Di Hao Ian and Lan Wanru dine together? Was there a need to think about it? It had to be. Even thinking about it was unbearable, let alone seeing it with her own eyes. Forget it. Nothing will happen even if I don't go back for dinner. "Let's go." "Okay, let's go have a big meal," Wan Malay said happily. "No problem. Please." Wan Malay's inner monologue was, "The richer you are, the stingier you are." In the dining hall of the castle, dinner was served. It was mealtime. However, Di Hao Ian's expression was so cold that the food on the table froze. Lan Wanru sat next to them. Seeing Di Hao Ian's cold expression and silence, he didn't dare to take the initiative to eat. "Brother Hao Ian, what's the matter?" she asked cautiously. "You're not eating?" Di Hao Ian's eyes narrowed. Why hadn't he come back yet? She had been with Zhou Zhishan all this time? She didn't know his identity. She used to like being so close to other men? Damn it. "Brother Hao Ian?" Lan Wanru called again. Di Hao Ian looked at her. "What's the matter? You're not eating? I see that you've been in a daze." Lan Wanru had a gentle smile on her face. It was as if she didn't know that Di Hao Ian's face was cold. It wasn't easy for her to keep Di Hao Ian by her side. How could she make him unhappy? It was just that Di Hao Ian's absent-mindedness made her feel a strong sense of jealousy and unwillingness. Lian walked into the dining hall and nodded respectfully. "Young master, do you want to wait for young madam?" I called the company and said that young madam has already left the company. "Wait," Di Hao Ian ordered. Thus, he began to wait. Lan Wanru's smile stiffened. She didn't show her displeasure. Instead, her face burned as if she had been slapped in the face. Di Hao Ian was already sitting at the dining table, yet he still wanted to wait for Tang Bao to come back for dinner? What was he thinking? Didn't he forget about Tang Bao and not care about Tang Bao? Moreover, Yu Songhuan had said so many warnings to Di Hao Ian, saying that Di Hao Ian's expression was very bad at that time. Did he believe Yu Songhuan's words? Even if he didn't believe it, those words had an impact on his mood. But why did Di Hao Ian want to wait for Tang Bao to come back now? Didn't he care if she was hungry? Lan Wanru suppressed the anger in her heart and said considerately, "Yes, we'll wait for Tang Bao to come back and eat together." However, after waiting for half an hour, there was still no sign of Tang Bao. According to the time that Tang Bao left the company, He should have arrived at the castle long ago. As time went by, Di Hao Ian's expression became more and more frightening. Di Hao Ian didn't speak, and Lan Wanru didn't urge him to eat either. Yu Song Huan had said that she had to appear gentle and considerate in front of Di Hao Ian. Anyone with a discerning eye could see the difference between her and Tang Bao. She was better than Tang Bao. Moreover, at this time, Tang Bao must have provoked Di Hao Ian again. "No need to wait, let's eat," Di Hao Ian said, and picked up his chopsticks. Then he said to Lan Wanru, "Are you hungry? Eat more." Lan Wanru smiled. "Okay." In a high-end restaurant, Wan Malay chewed on her food and looked at Tang Bao opposite her. Her chopsticks had reached for the vegetables countless times. Only Tang Bao kept eating the vegetables and didn't touch the meat. Tang Bao. Tang Bao's mouth was still wrapped with vegetables. "Are you on a diet?" Wan Malay asked. "No." Tang Bao swallowed the food in his mouth and said, "Then why aren't you eating meat?" "And I'm the one who ordered the meat," Wan Malay asked, puzzled. "You're a carnivore. It's not like you not to eat meat." She didn't believe that Tang Bao was on a diet either. Didn't Tang Bao want to eat meat? Of course he did. When she came, she told Wan Malay that she wanted to turn her grief and anger into delicious food. However, when she had the menu in her hand, she remembered the promise she made to Di Hao Ian at noon. So, in the end, she swallowed her saliva and looked at the page full of vegetables with difficulty. Since she had promised Di Hao Ian, she had to do it. "Eat more vegetables. It's good for you," Tang Bao said against his will. "It's good for you, but you don't eat a single bite of meat. Isn't that abnormal?" Tang Bao sighed, put down his chopsticks, and said, "Isn't that Di Hao Ian? What does not eating meat have to do with the young master?" Wan Malay couldn't figure it out. Isn't he in the recovery period now? The doctor said that he can only eat light food. So, you accompany him and don't eat light food? Wan Malay couldn't believe her ears. However, Tang Bao still nodded at her. Wan Malay questioned Tang Bao's IQ. "Are you stupid? The young master isn't here now. He can't see if you eat. Eat." As she spoke, she picked up the largest piece of meat for Tang Bao. Tang Bao lowered his head and looked at the curry-colored beef in his bowl. There was a delicious and tempting sauce on it. Tang Bao's mouth was overflowing with saliva. Chapter 479. She quickly picked up the meat with her chopsticks and put it into Wan Malay's bowl. "What are you doing? You really don't want to eat it? I've already put it in your bowl. No one will see you swallow it." Wan Malay did not understand why she was so stubborn. "Do I look like the kind of person who doesn't keep my word? I've already promised Di Hao Ian. How can I go back on my word?" Tang Bao said, unmoved. "All right then. I'll eat it if you don't want to." Wan Malay picked up the meat. Tang Bao watched as the piece of meat went into Wan Malay's mouth. She leaned weakly on the table. "Hey, what are you doing? Malnutrition. Then you eat it." "I'm not eating." Tang Bao looked at the night view outside the window. Night had already fallen during dinner. Di Hao Ian had eaten, right? What was he doing? Was he resting? After dinner, Tang Bao and Wan Malay went to the mobile phone store and bought a mobile phone. Just like before, they lost their old number. Then, they went to the castle. It was inconvenient to not have a mobile phone. She thought that if Di Hao Ian called her one day, she would not be able to pick up. However, when she returned to the castle, she found that she could not enter. The heavy iron gate was tightly shut, and there were no bodyguard around. No matter how late it was in the past, there were always bodyguards outside the castle gate. But why was the gate closed so early now, and no one came to let her in? "Di Hao Ian." Tang Bao only reacted after shouting. The castle was so big. How could Di Hao Ian hear her? But could the bodyguards hear her? "Is there anyone?" "I'm back." Tang Bao knocked on the door with her hand. To be exact, she was pounding on the door. There was no need to pound. She was afraid that the people inside could not hear her. However, her throat was hoarse and her hands were hurting, but no one paid attention to her. Tang Bao did not believe that no one had heard her call and knew that she was outside the door. That was, Di Hao Ian had purposely shut her out. Why would he do that? Was it because he only had eyes for Lan Wanru, and the castle could no longer accommodate her? How could this be? "Di Hao Ian, you idiot! Let me in!" Tang Bao directly switched to kicking. Di Hao Yin. Tang Bao felt that his toes were hurting from the kick. In the past, Di Hao Yin would carry her to the top of the mountain when her feet hurt. Now her feet were kicking at the sturdy door, but he pretended not to notice. Did he not care at all if she would get hurt? Di Hao Yin, open the door. Tang Bao shouted. Lian and Zhongli, who were inside, were standing not far from the door. Lian's face was calm, but Zhongli could not. Supervisor, let's let the young madam in. Doesn't it hurt to kick? This is the young master's order. Lian looked at the closed European-style door. But how long will it be? Zhongli asked. The young master didn't say. Don't tell me we're going to lock the young madam outside the door for a night. Zhongli asked in shock. No, I'll let the young madam in. Zhongli wanted to go regardless. There was a sneer behind him. Lan Wanru walked out of the hall with a calm and smug expression on his face. Miss Lan, Lian called out. Miss Lan. Zhongli called out, but he was very unwilling. Lan Wanru, of course, could see his unwillingness and the reason for his unwillingness. Are you trying to defy the young master? You can open this door. Once you open it, you can get out of here. Lan Wanru's gentle voice was vicious. Lian said, This is the young master's order. We won't defy the young master. That's good. Lan Wanru looked at Zhongli again. If you can't bear it, you can go out and share the joys and sorrows with the Tang Bao. After saying that, he turned around and went in with a sneer. Zhongli was furious and said, Fine, I'll go. Anyway, I won't serve Lan Jihua. Stop right there. Lian was unhappy and spoke with the dignity of supervisor. I just want to share the joys and sorrows with the young madam. What's wrong with that? Zhongli was stopped and unhappily retorted. Supervisor, you should choose to protect yourself. You're loyal to the young master, and I'm the young madam. Are you done? Lian asked. If you go outside, do you still want to come in? The young madam is the hostess here. You can replace her at any time. Zhongli was suppressed by Lian's words. You can still give the young madam ideas in the castle now. If you go out, you'll have no value. The young madam will at most be locked outside for a while. When a young master's anger subsides, the young madam will naturally be allowed to enter the castle. Lian said calmly, But why is the young master angry for no reason? Zhongli asked, puzzled. Maybe the young madam doesn't want to come back for dinner. What's there to be angry about? Zhongli was surprised. I don't know about that. Tang Bao stood outside the door and thought. Why didn't she just call the young madam and kick the door open? When she met Di Hao Yin, her IQ went offline. Could it be that when her aura was suppressed, her IQ was also suppressed? Therefore, the phone he just bought also had a use. He picked up the phone and dialed Di Hao Yin's number. At this moment, Di Hao Yin was sitting in the study, facing the computer. His face was cold and expressionless. The phone next to the table rang. His dark eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at the caller on the phone screen. His expression did not change. His eyes were just staring at the screen. She knew she was coming back. Wasn't she in the company with Zhou Zhishan for the whole afternoon? Wasn't she reluctant to come back outside? Then just wait outside. Tang Bao made a call, but no one answered. Could it be that the phone was not with Di Hao Yin? Although this possibility was not big, maybe she wanted to take a shower? Tang Bao thought about it and called the hall. The phone rang. Zhongli heard it and immediately ran to answer it. She felt that the person who called must be the young madam. Therefore, as soon as she picked up the phone, she called, Young madam, how did you know it was me? I heard you kicking the door. Young madam, you must be very sad now, right? I don't care. I'll go open the door for you now. Zhongli said excitedly. No need. What's wrong? This is Di Hao Yin's order, isn't it? If you open the door, someone will definitely stop you. So, not only will you not help me, but you will also make Di Hao Yin even angrier. Is Di Hao Yin in the room now? Tang Bao asked. No. The young master went straight to the study after dinner. He should still be in the study, Zhongli said. Tang Bao thought that this meant that Di Hao Yin deliberately did not pick up her call. I got it. Young madam, why don't you bear with it outside for a while? The young master won't really bear to let you stay outside for too long. I know. Chapter 480. Instead, he continued to call Di Haoyan. If Di Haoyan didn't pick up, he would call him until he got impatient. However, no one picked up after he called again and again. After Tang Bao called, he took a deep breath. He checked the call history. He didn't expect to make 30 calls in such a short time. The screen suddenly showed a warning that the phone was out of battery, and then the phone was turned off. Oh no, what should I do now? She wanted to send a few text messages to Di Haoyan. Tang Bao thought, Di Haoyan, are you in a good mood when you hear the phone ringing? Are you in a better mood? If you're not in a good mood, I can't make the call. The phone on the table stopped vibrating. Di Haoyan looked at it with his dark eyes. She stopped calling so soon? He thought she would continue to call. Di Haoyan was really surprised that he could endure the bombardment of so many calls. He didn't pick up or turn off the phone. The phone on the table seemed to have lost its life all of a sudden, and there were no more calls. Di Haoyan's face was cold. He wanted to let Tang Bao know what the consequences of defying him were. There was a knock on the study door. Come in. Lan Wanru came in with tea. He saw Di Haoyan sitting behind the desk and facing the computer and said, Brother Haoyan, don't you want to rest for a while? Take care of yourself. He put the tea on the table. Brother Haoyan, go back to your room and sleep after drinking the tea. You go to sleep first. I'll be done soon, Di Haoyan said. Lan Wanru's eyes turned slightly and said, Brother Haoyan, Tang Bao is still outside the castle. Aren't you going to let her in? What if she gets angry and leaves again? Di Haoyan's face was cold. Don't worry about her. She still dares to leave? If she leaves, she will never return to the castle. Of course, Tang Bao didn't dare to leave. In fact, she could have gone to the Tang family to stay, or Wan Malay's place, or even get a room. Anyway, he wouldn't sleep on the streets. However, she was really afraid that if she left, she would never be able to enter the castle again. Wouldn't that benefit Lan Wanru? Therefore, she cannot leave. Her phone was out of battery, and she couldn't contact Di Haoyan, but she wouldn't leave, even if he had to stay here for a night. Tang Bao paced back and forth outside the door. Time slowly slipped away. Di Haoyan had already returned to his room. He took a shower and went to bed. The clock in the room pointed to midnight. Di Haoyan, who should have gone to bed early, had no intention of sleeping at all. He lifted the blanket and got out of bed. He walked to the window. The curtains were not drawn. Di Haoyan's tall figure in his pajamas was reflected on the glass. His face was cold and hard, and his dark eyes were deep. No one could tell what he was thinking. The castle was so big that they couldn't even see the entrance of the castle from the windows. No one came to tell him about the situation outside, because no one dared to touch him. Tang Bao must have left a long time ago, right? How could he still be outside the door? Was this the result he wanted? Why? His mood was even more depressed. It was pressing down on his chest, making it hard for him to breathe. He didn't have surgery on his brain, but it felt like he had surgery on his heart. After waking up, it was more frequent than the discomfort in his head. Why? Why did he do this? Tang Bao squatted by the wall and leaned against it. Her legs were exhausted from standing all the time. She simply sat on the ground. The spring chill was chilly, especially at night. Tang Bao was so cold that she curled up into a ball. She thought that she would pass out in the morning. No, maybe she wouldn't pass out in the morning. She wouldn't be breathing in the morning. Tang Bao felt that she had been frozen to death for the rest of her life. She didn't expect this at all. Just as she was thinking about this, Belle walked out from the side door of the castle with a basin of water in her hand. When she saw Tang Bao sitting on the ground, a cold smile flashed across her face. Then, she directly splashed the basin of cold water on Tang Bao. Tang Bao, who was suddenly attacked, jumped up in shock. The piercing cold water on her body made her face pale. When she looked at the person who splashed the water on her, she was instantly furious. What are you doing? I'm sorry, young madam. I didn't know you were here. I didn't do it on purpose. I'm sorry. After Belle finished speaking, she turned and ran away. The side door was locked once again. If Tang Bao believed that she didn't do it on purpose, there would be something wrong with her IQ. The castle was so big. Of all the places to pour the water, why did she have to pour it on her? But how was she going to pursue the matter now? She was already freezing. Now that she was drenched and the water dripped down, it was so cold that her bones hurt. Her lips were trembling. She hugged her mouth with her small hands, trying to warm herself up. Di Hao Ian, don't you know that I've been standing outside all this time? Why can't you come out to see me? Let me go back to the castle. Have you forgotten about me so completely? I'm so cold now, but what makes me feel even colder is my heart. At this time, Di Hao Ian, Tang Bao, and Lan Wanru were not the only ones who were awake. Belle knocked on the door and walked into the room. After Lan Wanru came to the castle, Lan Wanru asked Belle to come over and serve her. She was the only one who didn't believe in the others. Lan Wanru sat on the bed and asked, "Is Tang Bao still outside?" "Yes, she's outside. She's really stubborn. She won't leave even if I don't let her in. What's the point of staying outside for a night? She might even freeze to death. It's better if she freezes to death. Once and for all, she won't annoy me anymore." The vicious expression on her face suddenly changed and became gentle and worried. "Did you go to see her? Did Brother Hao Qian rest? Did he go to bed long ago? The lights in the young master's room are still on. I don't know if he's asleep," Belle said. "He should be asleep." Lan Wanru didn't know if Di Hao Qian had the habit of turning on the lights when he slept. He felt that Di Hao Qian's body was still recovering, so it was impossible for him to be awake so late. Tang Bao didn't dare to continue sitting on the ground without moving. If she didn't move, she would freeze to death. Thus, she jumped around. "Young madam." Tang Bao was stunned for a moment and saw the bodyguard in black walking out. "Young madam, I'm a young master's bodyguard, Ding Quan." Tang Bao remembered this person. Basically, when He Ju ordered him to do something, he would always be there. When she was in the hospital, he was also there. Tang Bao seemed to have seen his savior and said, "Let me in? Is that okay? I'm freezing to death." Actually, Ding Quan saw the scene just now clearly. A servant who wasn't even in the castle dared to bully the young madam. If the young master regained his memory, he would be dead meat. However, Ding Quan was in a difficult position regarding Tang Bao's request. "I'm sorry, young madam. This is the young master's order. Even if we let you in without permission, the consequences will only be worse," Ding Quan said. Tang Bao sighed. How could she not know? No one would have a good ending if they provoked Di Hao Yin. Tang Bao looked at Ding Quan. "If you can't let me in, why did you come out? Are you envious of me?" Chapter 481. Tang Bao thought to himself, "So this is his intention. He's really thoughtful. Even a bodyguard was so thoughtful. What about Di Hao Yin's heart? If I leave, I definitely won't be able to come the next day. You don't have to worry about me. My body will warm up after jumping for a while," Tang Bao said. "It's just that." Ding Quan still wanted to say something. Another voice suddenly sounded. "I don't think I came at the right time. Did I disturb you?" Ding Quan saw Di Hao Yin's intimidating figure and was so scared that he immediately lowered his head. Tang Bao also couldn't believe that Di Hao Yin would appear outside the door. He turned around and looked at the familiar person. Only then did he realize that he really came. "Di Hao Yin, are you here to let me in?" Tang Bao asked while holding back his teeth that were trembling from the cold. He could still feel that her voice was trembling from the cold. However, Di Hao Yin's expression was even colder and gloomier. It was as if he didn't know how cold Tang Bao was now. He walked towards Tang Bao unhurriedly. However, his gaze was fixed on Ding Quan. "Should I not have come? Do you want me to let you talk for a while longer?" Di Hao Yin's eyes were cold. For some reason, he ran out, only to see such a scene. In his heart, he suddenly wanted to grind these two people into ashes. "Young master, get lost," Di Hao Yin growled. It was frightening. Ding Quan immediately retreated and returned to his original position. Tang Bao looked at Di Hao Yin's cold side profile and asked, "Di Hao Yin, why are you so angry? He didn't do anything. Will you die if you don't seduce men?" Di Hao Yin suddenly turned his face. Tang Bao was stunned. "When did she seduce men?" "Ding Quan?" "Di Hao Yin, you misunderstood. He only asked me to leave. That's all. It seems that locking you outside the door is fulfilling your wish," Di Hao Yin said as he looked at Tang Bao maliciously. "Di Hao Yin, what will it take for you to believe me?" Tang Bao asked anxiously. Don't you know that I'm standing here waiting for you? Even if you don't come, you can just give an order. I called you, but you didn't pick up. My phone was out of battery. I didn't know what to do. I could only stand here and wait. Di Haoyin, what else do you want me to do? Or do you really want me to freeze to death here? Di Haoyin looked at Tang Bao's pale face under the light. He could not bear to look at him and asked coldly, Did I ask you to leave? Then do you want me to watch you and Lan Wanru being lovey-dovey? Tang Bao's eyes became misty. They were about to gather into water droplets and roll down. Di Haoyin, who is your wife? You ran back to the castle so eagerly, but it wasn't for me, and I followed you back like a fool. Do you know how I feel? Di Haoyin looked at those teary eyes and felt his heart contract irregularly. His expression was somewhat restrained, and his voice was low and hoarse. Wanru and I didn't do anything, but I didn't do anything with anyone. Why do I have to be treated like this? Di Haoyin's expression was ugly. He said coldly, It seems that you haven't been frozen enough. After that, he turned and walked toward the castle gate. Di Haoyin, Tang Bao chased after Di Haoyin. She felt that her legs were stiff from the cold. It was so strenuous to run. However, she only had one thought. She could not let Di Haoyin go back to the castle and ignore her. Otherwise, she would not have a chance. Di Haoyin, listen to me. However, Di Haoyin did not seem to hear her. He walked inside, and only his cold back view could be seen. Di Haoyin, Tang Bao felt that all the strength in her body was drained away, and her vision was dizzy. She felt that Di Haoyin's figure in front of her was swaying and becoming more and more blurred. He was also getting farther and farther away from her. Di Haoyin, Tang Bao called out softly and weakly, and then fainted on the ground. Di Haoyin heard the sound of someone falling to the ground behind him. His tall back view stiffened. He stopped and turned around. He saw Tang Bao lying on the ground. His face could not be seen, but he was motionless. It's no use pretending to be pitiful in front of me, Di Haoyin said coldly as he looked at the figure. Tang Bao still did not move. If you stand up now, I'll let you into the castle, Di Haoyin said as his expression changed. Tang Bao still did not move. Di Haoyin's face suddenly darkened. He strode toward Tang Bao and turned the person on the ground over. As soon as he touched her body, it was moist and cold. Her petite face was very pale. Di Haoyin's breathing was heavy, and he looked at her coldly with his black eyes. Then he directly picked up Tang Bao, walked into the castle, and ordered, Call the doctor. Zhongli looked at this scene and did not know what was going on. He was so anxious that he did not know what to do. Lian ignored her and quickly called the doctor. It was impossible for Lan Wanru and the others not to know about the commotion in the middle of the night. What did you say? Tang Bao came in, and Brother Haoyin carried her in. Lan Wanru was so anxious that she got out of bed. She was about to go to bed, but she heard such a thing. Her face was pale and ugly. Yes, miss, but that's because Tang Bao fainted, so young master carried her in. It's nothing, Belle said. If that's nothing, then what is? This must be Tang Bao's scheme. She wants to win Brother Haoyin's sympathy. She's too cunning. Lan Wanru was so angry that she was about to go crazy. Why did she have to snatch Di Haoyin from her? Couldn't she just leave obediently? Why did she have to go against her? Miss, young master no longer has any feelings for Tang Bao. At most, he'll only care about her because of their relationship as husband and wife. If Miss marries young Master D, then young Master D won't care about Tang Bao's life or death in the future, Belle said to ease her worries. You're right. Marrying Brother Haoyin has always been my dream. I can't let it be a long night with many dreams. As long as I marry Brother Haoyin, what do I have to worry about? Lan Wanru seemed to heave a sigh of relief and sneered. Tang Bao felt that she was being carried into a warm place. But that warmth only lasted for a moment. Her body was once again immersed in the cold, and that warmth left her. Di Haoyin placed Tang Bao on the bed, directly stripped her clothes off, and changed into clean pajamas. He did not know why he did this. It seemed to be an instinct. Perhaps he just did not want Tang Bao to die in front of him like this. Anything that went against his wishes would not be allowed to appear. The stripped Tang Bao's body was as white as porcelain without a single flaw. Under the light, it was crystal clear and beautiful. The girl's figure was graceful and seductive. It made Di Hao Ian's dark eyes stare at her in a daze. He felt the blood in his body heating up, boiling, and flowing quickly. It made his entire body heat up. His sexy Adam's apple involuntarily swallowed, as if he wanted to swallow the person in front of him into his stomach. Chapter 482. It's cold. Tang Bao's body shivered, and she groaned in discomfort. Only then did Di Hao Ian come back to his senses. He pulled her pajamas and wrapped her seductive body up. Then, he covered her with a blanket. Tang Bao opened her eyes weakly and looked at the person sitting by the bed. She was in a daze and couldn't see clearly. However, she knew that this person must be Di Hao Ian. It couldn't be anyone else. Tang Bao rarely fell ill. This time, it was unprecedentedly serious. However, she didn't want to fall asleep. She reached out and wanted to grab Di Hao Ian's hand, but she could only feel his sturdy thigh. Di Hao Ian, don't chase me out. I don't want to go out, Tang Bao said weakly. There were still tears in the corners of her eyes. Di Hao Ian stared at her with his dark eyes. You're in the castle now. He meant that he wouldn't chase her out. He then added, the doctor will be here soon. Doctor, if I'm sick, I can stay here forever. With you by my side, I want to stay sick forever, Tang Bao said in a low voice. Di Hao Ian's heart was heavy. His hand on the bed moved, as if he had unconsciously placed it beside his leg. Tang Bao felt Di Hao Ian's hand beside her hand and groped for it. Sure enough, she touched Di Hao Ian's hand. At that moment, Di Hao Ian felt as if his heart was being held instead of his hand. It was being held and squeezed by a soft and boneless hand. It was extremely uncomfortable. He looked at Tang Bao's half-asleep face and said in a low voice, if I don't let you in, you won't leave? If I leave, in the future, you won't let me in? Tang Bao grabbed Di Hao Ian's hand and hugged it to her chest, as if this could make her feel at ease. However, she still didn't want to fall asleep and forced herself to stay awake. This moment was so beautiful. She was afraid that this was just a dream. When she woke up, there would be nothing left. However, Tang Bao still could not hold on and fainted. The doctor soon arrived and took Tang Bao's temperature. It was almost 40 degrees Celsius. He immediately gave her an injection to reduce her fever, took some medicine, and put her on a drip. After the doctor left, Di Hao Ian sat on the edge of the bed and looked at Tang Bao, who woke up and then fell asleep. The emotions in his heart seemed to be repressing something, but he was also struggling to find it. Looking at her face, he thought of what Yu Songhuan had said to her. Could this be the Tang Bao's ruse? Or had she used all kinds of schemes to make him marry her in the past? However, Di Hao Ian instinctively felt that he would not be tricked by someone like Tang Bao. Di Hao Ian's black eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at Tang Bao's clothes that he had taken off and thrown aside. He stood up and picked up the clothes. From the outside to the inside, there wasn't a single spot that was dry. He felt the phone inside. His phone was turned off. Di Hao Ian tried to turn it on, but it couldn't because there was no battery. Therefore, after making 30 calls, she stopped. Di Hao Ian put down his phone and walked out of the bedroom. He instructed the servant, go and call the bodyguards over. The servant immediately went to do so. Soon, the bodyguards came over. What happened outside the door just now? Why is young madam's body wet? Di Hao Ian asked. The bodyguards immediately said, it was Miss Land's servant who did it. He poured a basin of cold water all over young madam. Di Hao Ian's face instantly darkened, and the air became a few degrees colder. Belle, who was hiding in a corner in the distance, was so scared that her face turned pale. She turned around and ran toward Lan Wanru's room. She didn't even knock on the door. What's wrong? Why are you so flustered? Could it be that Brother Hao Ian has something to do? Lan Wanru asked nervously. Belle cried out, Miss, you must save me. What's wrong? Lan Wanru frowned. When Tang Bao was locked outside the door, I poured cold water on her, Belle said. What did you say? Who asked you to do that? Do you have a brain? Lan Wanru was furious. I just wanted to go out for Miss, but I didn't expect young master to let Tang Bao in and see a doctor for her. Miss, you must save me. I'm scared. Belle cried and begged. Lan Wanru looked at Belle and felt annoyed. When the time came, Di Hao Ian would definitely suspect that she was the one who ordered Belle to do what she did. Because Belle was the person she brought here. She really couldn't do anything right. Young master, do you want to bring that person here now? The bodyguard asked. Di Hao Ian turned around and said, tomorrow morning. Then he entered the room. On the bed, Tang Bao was already sleeping much more peacefully than before. Di Hao Ian sat on the sofa and rubbed the space between his tired eyebrows. The frustration in his heart was as fierce as a ferocious beast. He didn't want to think about who did it. If they didn't want to tell the truth in front of him, he had plenty of methods. After the first bottle of 4 drip was finished, Di Hao Ian gave the Tang Bao a second bottle. There were 2 bottles in total. He had to finish the drip. Actually, he could have just let the servant watch over him while he went to sleep. But Di Hao Ian didn't do that. He couldn't see through himself anymore. Why did he do this to a wife who had no feelings for him? What exactly went wrong? Di Hao Ian sat on the sofa and slept for half an hour. Then, he got up and removed the needle from Tang Bao's hand. He touched the temperature of Tang Bao's forehead. The fever had already subsided. Di Hao Ian then returned to the bed and lay down. As soon as he lay down, Tang Bao turned over and crawled into his arms. Her small hands crawled into his pajamas. The hand that was on the 4 drip was cold and directly covered Di Hao Ian's skin. It was so cold that his abdominal muscles tightened. Di Hao Ian frowned and looked at the sleeping Tang Bao. He really wanted to throw her off the bed. But in the end, he didn't do anything. He needed a rest. In the morning, after Lan Wanru woke up and went downstairs, he didn't see Di Hao Ian. He should be up at this time. He asked Zhongli, is the young master not up yet? Last night, the young master didn't sleep for most of the night. He should still be sleeping with young madam. It's not convenient for us to disturb them, Zhongli said. She deliberately said that the young master and young madam were sleeping, not that the young master was sleeping. Lan Wanru's expression changed, and he put on a fake smile. That's true. Brother Hao Ian is so tired. He should rest well. Miss Lan, don't worry. In the past, the young master and young madam often slept together until noon. We're all used to it. We won't disturb their sleep, Zhongli said again. Lan Wanru's mouth twitched. He turned around and walked into the dining room. He said, let's prepare breakfast then. Brother Hao Ian can eat at any time when he wakes up. Of course, Zhongli said, but her eyes glared fiercely at Lan Wanru's back. It wasn't up to her to tell him what to do. Tang Bao, who was sleeping on the bed, woke up in a daze. She felt that the bed she was sleeping on didn't seem right. She opened her eyes and saw the sturdy body sleeping beside her. She raised her head slightly and saw Di Hao Ian's chiseled and masculine face. He was extraordinarily handsome, cold, and domineering. Chapter 483. In the past, before Di Hao Ian lost his memory, when she woke up, she could see Di Hao Ian hugging her in a bundled-up sleeping position. Now, there was no bundled-up sleeping position, but she still felt satisfied. As long as it was like this every day, it was fine. Tang Bao quietly reached out her hand. Her slender white index finger approached Di Hao Ian's face. Then, she gently tapped Di Hao Ian's strong nose and slid it down. Of course, Di Hao Ian woke up after Tang Bao woke up. He just didn't open his eyes. However, Tang Bao's hand was so presumptuous. Was she ready to take advantage of him after recovering from her illness? Tang Bao focused on sliding it down. She felt that the lines of Di Hao Ian's face were really sexy and charming. She slid down the bridge of his nose, skipped over his thin lips, and reached his firm jaw. At this moment, Di Hao Ian's black eyes opened. Tang Bao's little hand paused. Her watery eyes bloomed into a smile as she said, "Good morning." Di Hao Ian directly removed Tang Bao's hand from his jaw. With a cold face, he said, "If you don't want to sleep, get out of bed." Di Hao Ian, I haven't recovered yet. You can't be fierce to me. Tang Bao looked up and said aggrievedly. So what if I'm fierce to you? It will relapse. Di Hao Ian ignored her. He lifted the quilt and got out of bed. Tang Bao curled up in the quilt and watched Di Hao Ian enter the bathroom. She knew that she fainted yesterday. She was sick. She was in a daze. She looked really silly, but she didn't regret her persistence at all. Instead, she thanked herself for fainting. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to enter, right? After all, even if Di Hao Ian appeared outside the castle last night, it didn't seem like he wanted to let her in. Tang Bao felt that it was really hard for her to cope with Di Hao Ian after he lost his memory. But what could she do? Di Hao Ian was just sick. When he was sick, could she just turn around and leave and not care about anything? It was impossible. After a while, Di Hao Ian came out of the bathroom and went into the walk-in closet. Tang Bao really wanted to follow them inside, but she had no strength. After Di Hao Ian came out dressed neatly, Tang Bao asked, Di Hao Ian, you won't lock me out again, right? It was really, really cold last night. I was almost frozen stiff. That's up to you, Di Hao Ian said coldly. What do you mean? What did I do? I didn't come back late yesterday. Also, when I went to eat with Malay yesterday, I didn't eat a single piece of meat. Tang Bao pouted. You can say whatever you want if you didn't see it. Di Hao Ian buttoned his shirt and moved his black eyes, but the words that came out of his mouth were cold. Really? If you don't believe me, you can ask Malay. She ate all the meat last night. I didn't eat a single bite. She put a piece of meat in my bowl, and I returned it to her, Tang Bao explained. Di Hao Ian, just believe me. Di Hao Ian didn't say anything. After buttoning his shirt, he walked out of the room. Tang Bao's raised head weakly rested on the pillow. It was normal that Di Hao Ian didn't believe her. She really hoped that Di Hao Ian believed her. Not long after Di Hao Ian left, there was a knock on the door. The person who came in was Zhongli. He was holding porridge in his hand. Young madam, are you feeling better? Much better. What are you holding? Tang Bao asked. It's nutritious porridge. I prefer noodles. Assorted noodles, Tang Bao said. Young madam's body hasn't recovered yet, and she still has a high fever. The doctor said that she can only eat bland food for the time being, Zhongli said. He put down the bowl and helped Tang Bao sit on the bed. Then, he placed the small dining table on the bed and put the porridge on it for her to eat. Tang Bao's eyes darted around the bowl. It was indeed bland. It was all vegetable porridge. Tang Bao really wanted to eat meat. However, even if she wasn't sick, she couldn't eat it, because she had promised Di Hao Ian that she would eat bland food with him. Tang Bao accepted her fate and began to eat. She thought that it wouldn't taste good, but after taking a bite, she felt that it tasted pretty good. Zhongli stood at the side and watched, saying, Young madam, if it's not enough, I'll get more for you. Tang Bao shook her head. I can't eat that much. Zhongli looked at Tang Bao's pitiful look and thought of what happened last night. He couldn't help but say, Young madam, don't be sad. The young master cares about you. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in a hurry to bring you back to the castle to see a doctor. I can understand that Di Hao Ian's emotions are unstable after he lost his memory, Tang Bao said. Why didn't young madam come back for dinner last night? If she came back, the young master wouldn't be angry, Zhongli said. Tang Bao stopped eating the porridge. What did you say? I was locked out of the castle because I didn't come back for dinner? That's what the supervisor said. Moreover, the young master waited for you to come back for dinner last night, but you didn't come back. So, I think the young master must be angry because of this, Zhongli said with certainty, then asked, Young madam didn't tell the young master that she didn't come back for dinner, right? Tang Bao didn't tell Di Hao Ian. However, she thought that it was the same whether she told him or not. Di Hao Ian only had Lan Wanru in his eyes. How would he think of her? If she really wanted to tell him, would he not pick up her call? What's more, would he offend Di Hao Ian? That was what Tang Bao thought. However, was Di Hao Ian really waiting for her to come back for dinner? Zhang Li's words couldn't be false. Tang Bao was so regretful that her intestines were tied into a butterfly knot. If she had known earlier, she wouldn't have gone to eat with Wang Malay. If she had gone back to the castle for dinner, there wouldn't have been so many things after that. However, when she thought of Di Hao Ian's attitude towards her when she was sick yesterday, she felt a sense of happiness that was a blessing in disguise. Especially when Zhongli said that Di Haoyan was waiting for her to come back for dinner. She was even more happy. Did this mean that Di Haoyan cared about her? If he didn't care, why would he wait for her to come back for dinner? Tang Bao finished the porridge at the bottom of the bowl in one gulp and said, "I want another bowl." She forgot that she had just said that she couldn't eat that much. Okay. Tang Bao felt that her body was much better now. Di Haoyan was eating alone in the dining room. Lian was standing next to him. Not long after, Lan Wanru walked into the dining room. He sat down at the dining table. "Brother Haoyan, did you just wake up? You must be hungry for breakfast so late," Lan Wanru asked gently. "I wanted to go to your room to wake you up for breakfast, but I was afraid of disturbing you, so I didn't go." "No need to wake me up." Di Haoyan narrowed his eyes and ate. "Okay, I'll let you sleep until you wake up naturally." Lan Wanru had a gentle smile on her face. It was as if she didn't mind Di Haoyan's indifference towards her. "Who went out last night?" Di Haoyan asked while eating. She couldn't see the emotions on his face, as if he was eating normally. Lian thought that he was asking about himself, because it was one of the servants' jobs to know who went out. Chapter 484. Di Haoyan didn't respond to Lian. He finished his breakfast quickly. Lian immediately handed him a white towel. Di Haoyan took it and tapped the corner of his mouth. "What's the name of the person you brought here?" Lian knew that he wasn't the only one who asked that question. If it wasn't him, then the only other person was Lan Wanru. "Brother Haoyan, that's Belle. She's been serving me. What's wrong?" Lan Wanru asked in confusion. "Call her over," Di Haoyan said. Lan Wanru had a puzzled look on her face, but she still stood up and called Belle, who was outside the restaurant, and Belle walked into the dining room with her head lowered in fear. "I'm only going to ask this once. Last night, you went outside and splashed water on Tang Bao." Di Haoyan threw the towel to Lian and looked at Belle sharply. Belle didn't dare to raise her head as she trembled in fear. Lan Wanru looked at Belle in surprise. "You went out of the castle last night? You splashed water on Tang Bao?" "I'm sorry, Mississippi. I just—" Belle's voice trembled. "Are you crazy? Why did you splash water on Tang Bao?" Lan Wanru couldn't control his anger and slapped Belle. Belle's face turned to the side. She could only take it and apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Why did I bring you here? What kind of place is this for you to be so presumptuous? You've disappointed me." Lan Wanru was furious. She then turned to Di Haoyan and said apologetically, "Brother Haoyan, I'm sorry. I didn't know she would do that." Di Haoyan was not in a hurry, but his black eyes were cold. "Who told you to do it? Do you know the consequences of lying to me?" Belle's legs could no longer support her, and she fell to the ground. "Brother Haoyan, this is Belle's fault. Let me take responsibility for her mistake." Lan Wanru defended Belle. "As long as she tells the truth, I'll spare her." Di Haoyan's black eyes flashed with savagery. Lan Wanru immediately said to Belle, "Still not telling the truth? If you tell me, Brother Haoyan won't pursue the matter." I, young madam asked me to do this." Belle started crying. Di Haoyan's black eyes immediately turned sharp. Lan Wanru also had a look of disbelief on his face. "Who told you to do it?" "Young madam, Tang Bao," Belle said. "What nonsense are you talking about? Did she ask you to splash water on her? How is that possible?" Lan Wanru looked at Di Haoyan in disbelief. Di Haoyan's expression could no longer be described as sinister. It was extremely terrifying. "Go and call her." Di Haoyan's voice was emotionless, but it still made one's scalp tingle. He didn't ask for details. Instead, he asked the servant to call for someone. As for calling for someone, it was obvious. Zhongli, who was going downstairs to get a second bowl of Tang Bao, heard this and his expression changed. "Young master, young madam's health? Didn't you hear what I said?" Di Haoyan's black eyes flashed fiercely. Zhongli didn't dare to continue speaking. Without waiting for the others, he turned and went upstairs. He was in a hurry to enter the room. Tang Bao was leaning against the head of the bed, thinking about Di Haoyan's change in attitude towards her. Seeing Zhongli rush in with an empty bowl in his hand, she asked, "Didn't you give me a bowl?" "Young madam, young master. Young master wants you to go down," Zhongli said. Only then did Tang Bao notice Zhang Li's expression. She seemed to be frightened. "What happened?" Tang Bao asked. "I don't know either. When I went down, Lan Wanru and Belle were both in the dining room, and young master's expression was very scary." Zhang Li didn't understand what had happened. She didn't hear it. Zhang Li didn't understand, and Tang Bao was also very confused. "What did she do again? I didn't get out of bed after I woke up. What could I do?" "Young madam, you're not feeling well now and can't get out of bed. I'll go and report to young master," Zhang Li said. Anyway, she had already made a trip, so it was as if she had already called him. Tang Bao lowered her gaze slightly and said, "No need. I'll go and take a look. But young madam, your body hasn't recovered yet. You still need to get a drip after breakfast," Zhang Li said anxiously. "If Di Hao Yin wants to see me, do you think he can let me lie here in peace?" Tang Bao asked. Zhang Li was speechless. Otherwise, she wouldn't have rushed over in a hurry. Tang Bao put on a coat and left the room. Zhang Li helped her downstairs. Tang Bao said as she went down the stairs, "Why don't you install an elevator in the castle? The castle is so big, it's so tiring to walk up the stairs." Zhang Li, "Young madam, I'm worried that you can still think of this at this time. There's nothing to worry about. Can Di Hao Yin eat me?" Zhang Li thought with certainty in her heart. That was much scarier than eating people. Tang Bao walked to the entrance of the dining room. Before she even got close to the atmosphere inside, she could already feel a strong pressure. Inside, Lan Wanru was standing, and Belle was kneeling on the ground. Di Hao Yin sat in the king-like position and looked at her with his dark eyes. Tang Bao's face was still pale from illness. Under Di Hao Yin's cold gaze, she walked into the dining room and asked Di Hao Yin, "What's wrong? Why was this scene so familiar?" It seemed like she had faced it before. It should be the maid who saw her take the abortion pill. The current Belle looked so similar to that maid. So similar that it made Tang Bao feel a strong sense of uneasiness. Di Hao Yin looked away coldly and ordered coldly, "Continue." Belle's body trembled, and she began to say, "Young madam wanted to go back to the castle, but young master didn't let her. She wanted to use the trick of injuring herself to gain his sympathy. She asked me to splash water on her and let me put on a show with her." Tang Bao immediately understood Belle's words. She used all her strength to question her. "What nonsense are you talking about? When did I do that? You're Lan Wanru's person. Why would I look for you? Even if I wanted to use the trick of injuring myself, I should have found someone else. Even if you want to scheme against me, please use your brain." Tang Bao was furious. She didn't expect that she had suffered from a cold, and in the end, it was still her acting. "Didn't you say so? This way, no one will be suspicious. And even if it's exposed, I'll say that Miss Lan instigated it." Tang Bao's face was cold. "Then you really listened to me?" Belle quickly took out the money from her pocket and held it in her hand. It seemed to be more than 1,000 yuan. "Young madam, I don't want to do it anymore. I'll return the money to you. I know that I betrayed Miss Lan because I was greedy for money. I regret it. I won't do it anymore. I'm sorry, Mississippi. I didn't want to do this. I was confused for a moment. Please forgive me," she cried as she spoke. Tang Bao couldn't believe this show. Belle kept saying that she was the one who instigated it. Could it be that she didn't know whether she did it or not? Chapter 485. Lan Wanru. Tang Bao looked at Lan Wanru. Lan Wanru was looking at Belle with a sad and disappointed expression. "How could you do this to me? Just because of the money? Miss, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I won't do it again." Belle cried and begged for mercy. Lan Wanru looked at Di Hao Yin with a sad expression. "Brother Hao Yin, I don't care anymore. You can do whatever you want with her. I can't bear to do it, but after what she did..." Di Hao Yin looked at Tang Bao with his cold eyes. "What else do you have to say?" "I have nothing to say because I didn't do it," Tang Bao said calmly. "You wanted to enter the castle, so you used the trick of injuring yourself? Or you didn't expect to be exposed?" Di Hao Yin asked with a dark expression. Tang Bao's breathing was very unstable. Di Haoyan's doubts meant that she was not believed. Di Haoyan, why don't you believe me? Di Haoyan stood up and approached Tang Bao. He grabbed Tang Bao's chin and lifted him up rudely. Believe you? Didn't you want to enter the castle? Didn't you dislike Wanru? Did you think that I would see through you? I was really fooled by you. He exerted force in his hand and pushed Tang Bao away. Tang Bao didn't have much strength to begin with, and Di Haoyan did it on purpose. He hit the wall behind him and fell to the ground. Tang Bao was so scared that his face turned pale. His palms on the ground were numb and painful. She looked up at Di Haoyan in disbelief. He actually hit her. For Lan Wanru. Why? Tang Bao stared at Di Haoyan in a daze. It was as if he could no longer feel the pain. Only tears flowed down his cheeks, silent and repressed. Seeing this, Lan Wanru's eyes flashed with pride. Young master, you can't treat young madam like this. You've never treated young madam like this before. Zhongli hurriedly stepped forward to plead for mercy. She couldn't care less anymore. Di Haoyan was furious. He waved his hand and smashed the tableware on the table, creating a mess on the floor. Everyone was so scared that they didn't even dare to breathe. Do you think that you could be so presumptuous in front of me just because I lost my memory? Di Haoyan roared. Everyone in the castle lowered their heads to their chests. Tang Bao sat on the ground, his body and mind numb from the shock. When Di Haoyan walked towards her, Tang Bao instinctively closed his eyes. Di Haoyan stopped in front of Tang Bao, squatted down, and reached out to grab Tang Bao's chin. His voice was gloomy as he said, "Is everything you've done for my sake? You're not lying at all? When did you start playing the role of a good wife? After I lost my memory?" Tang Bao's wet eyelashes fluttered and opened. With tears in her eyes, she looked at the ferocious face in front of her and didn't say a word. "What? You don't want to talk anymore?" Di Haoyan asked coldly. "After you lost your memory, which of my words did you believe?" Tang Bao asked in a hoarse voice. Di Haoyan's dark eyes were slightly stunned. "I don't know who said anything in front of you, but Di Haoyan, I'm your wife. Is there no trace of me in the castle?" Tang Bao asked in a choked voice. Her petite face was getting paler and paler. Di Haoyan's hand, which was holding Tang Bao's chin, began to tremble, as if he was about to lose control of his emotions. The pain came, and gradually, her bones were about to be crushed. Tang Bao's beautiful brows furrowed in pain. She didn't understand. Couldn't she even ask such a thing? Did he not believe in her at all? Di Haoyan, what should I do to satisfy you and make you believe in me? Tang Bao asked. Hot tears rolled down and flowed into Di Haoyan's rough fingers. Di Haoyan's hands were scalded, and he suddenly loosened his grip on Tang Bao's chin. Di Haoyan, is this an act between you and Lan Wanru to drive me away? Tang Bao suddenly laughed and asked coldly, What did you say? Di Haoyan's dark eyes were cold. Isn't it? Why do I feel like you and Lan Wanru are acting? Tang Bao was, of course, talking nonsense. Why should Di Haoyan and Lan Wanru treat her like this? Wrongly accuse her? Couldn't she do the wrong thing back? Di Haoyan got up, and Tang Bao also got up from the ground. She looked straight into Di Haoyan's dark eyes. Di Haoyan, I didn't expect you to be so capable after losing your memory. You used such despicable means to bully a little girl. Di Haoyan was so angry that his face turned black. She was going to bite back. Exonerate herself? Di Haoyan sneered. What a good plan. What? Did I hit the nail on the head? I was wondering why you were so kind to let me in. It turns out that you were waiting for this moment. Di Haoyan, as the king of D City, you're nothing more than this. After Tang Bao finished speaking, she felt Di Haoyan's dark and terrifying gaze. She was so scared that she couldn't help but step back. You're courting death. Di Haoyan's ferocious nature was exposed. Tang Bao stepped back again. She wasn't feeling well now, so she couldn't deal with Di Haoyan. No, even if she was in good health, she still couldn't deal with him. Looking at Di Haoyan's expression, she seemed to have gone a little overboard. Since you don't want me here, I'll leave the castle now. Tang Bao turned around and left. Di Hao Ian's cold black eyes were like a beast's as he stared at the slender figure trying to escape. He said coldly, "You've provoked me, and you still want to leave?" Tang Bao didn't care what clothes she was wearing. She wanted to run first. However, just as she walked out of the hall, she found that the door was closed. She stood there in a daze. She turned around and saw the tall and straight figure standing there. It was as if he had come from the darkness of hell. Lan Wanru saw that the situation was developing out of his expectations. Logically speaking, Di Hao Ian should have directly kicked Tang Bao out. Why wasn't he letting her go now? Brother Hao Ian, don't be angry. If Tang Bao wants to leave, let her go. She'll naturally come back when she's thought it through. Lan Wanru seemed to be doing Di Hao Ian a favor, but in fact, he couldn't wait for Tang Bao to disappear from the castle. As long as she left, he had a way to make her never come back. Di Hao Ian didn't seem to hear Lan Wanru's words. His pair of malicious black eyes stared straight at Tang Bao. "Why aren't you leaving?" Di Hao Ian asked calmly, but there was endless danger in his voice. Tang Bao looked at Di Hao Ian and felt that Di Hao Ian was very scary at this moment. He wanted to eat her up in one bite. To be honest, Tang Bao still didn't believe that Di Hao Ian would really do anything to her. However, when she fell in a restaurant just now, she told herself that Di Hao Ian, who had lost his memory, could do anything. Of course, she couldn't leave. She really didn't want to leave here. She's scared. Tang Bao looked at Zhang Li, who was about to faint from fright, and Lian, who was nervous. Chapter 486. What do you want? Tang Bao asked. Di Hao Ian, I didn't want things to turn out this way between us, but you've been forcing me all this time. Just because Lan Wanru's people lied to you, you believe them. Di Hao Ian, you've only lost your memory. Don't you have any judgment? Last night, when you brought me back to the castle, I thought you would treat me better than before. You've hurt me so much. Before Tang Bao could finish his words, his body swayed and fell to the ground. Young madam, Zhang Li cried out in horror. Tang Bao lay unconscious on the ground, motionless. Di Hao Ian's face was cold and hard. His dark eyes stared fixedly at Tang Bao's small face. There were still traces of tears on his face. Lan Wanru didn't know how to react to this situation. This was the opposite of what she wanted. Why did Tang Bao faint again? Didn't he see the doctor, take the medicine, and get an injection? If he fainted, what would happen to Di Hao Ian? Just as she was thinking about this, Di Hao Ian left her side and walked directly to Tang Bao. He picked up Tang Bao. He turned around and walked out of the hall, heading upstairs. Brother Hao Ian, Lan Wanru anxiously called out to him. Di Hao Ian stopped walking. He didn't turn around, his back facing him. Tang Bao fainted. That's probably because he hasn't recovered yet. He'll be fine. Also, Brother Hao Ian, can you spare Belle? She's taken care of me for so many years. Can I let her leave the castle and go back to my aunt's house? Lan Wanru asked. Don't let me see her again, Di Hao Ian said and went upstairs. Yes, I won't let her appear in front of you again, Lan Wanru hurriedly said to the distant figure. Belle heard this and breathed a sigh of relief. As long as he could stay alive, there was nothing to be afraid of. Lan Wanru glared at Belle. What a pity. She purposely let Belle frame Tang Bao. When Di Hao Ian pushed Tang Bao to the ground, she was overjoyed. She felt that the opportunity to attack Tang Bao in one fell swoop had arrived. Then, he chased her out of the castle. As long as she was chased out, Di Hao Ian would never let her come back. Who would have thought that there would be such a huge reversal? Tang Bao was carried back to his room by Di Hao Ian again. Lan Wanru was furious. Who knew that Tang Bao's body was so weak that he fainted just like that? Di Hao Ian carried Tang Bao back to the room and put him on the bed. He looked at Tang Bao, whose eyes were tightly shut, and said coldly, Are you done pretending? There was no change on Tang Bao's face. His eyes were still closed. He was still unconscious. If you keep pretending, I'll throw you out. Di Hao Ian growled. Tang Bao suddenly opened his eyes. When he met Di Hao Ian's sharp eyes, his little eyes flashed uncomfortably. Fine. She was pretending. With Lan Wanru around, Her relationship with Di Hao Ian would only worsen. Not only that, but she would also become a joke to Lan Wanru. Moreover, she had learned this trick from Lan Wanru. Didn't she like to feint to attract Di Hao Ian? Di Hao Ian saw that she opened her eyes and looked guilty. His expression was extremely ugly, and he wanted to tear her apart. The atmosphere was awkward. "That's why you're sad?" Di Hao Ian asked with a cold expression. Tang Bao rolled his eyes. "That's right. I'm sad, and then I feel dizzy. I really feel dizzy. Isn't there a difference between being in a coma and being in a coma? I'm in a coma. That's shallow. When you hugged me, I felt—" She met Di Hao Ian's eyes that were getting colder. Tang Bao shut his mouth. She was annoyed. She thought that her acting was good. How did Di Hao Ian see through it? "Di Hao Ian, I was freezing to death last night. How could I splash water on myself? Why would I stand there like a fool? Think about it. How would I know that you would come out of the castle? If you didn't come out, wouldn't I freeze to death?" Tang Bao analyzed with him. "If I didn't come out, you wouldn't have been standing there all the time." Di Hao Ian snorted. "You're wrong." Tang Bao looked at him seriously. "I'll stand there until you let me in, even if I'm frozen into an ice sculpture." The ice in Di Hao Ian's black eyes seemed to have met with a sudden warm current and cracked. When he heard that Tang Bao had used the time of suffering on him, he was unprecedentedly angry after losing his memory. He regretted bringing her back to the castle. Now, when Tang Bao said those words, his eyes were so clear and bright that even his black eyes couldn't bear it. Or did he believe Tang Bao's words in an instant? He didn't want to believe her so easily. A person who pretended to be unconscious to deceive him was not worthy of trust. However, Di Hao Ian found that his anger had been suppressed unknowingly. "If there's a next time, you'll leave here forever." After Di Hao Ian finished speaking, he turned around with a cold face, opened the door, and looked at the maid outside fiercely. "Don't you know how to call a doctor?" The maid was so scared that she almost fell to the ground. She hurried over. In fact, the doctor was waiting downstairs. Because without Di Hao Ian's permission, no one dared to let the doctor go up without permission. After all, Di Hao Ian was so scary to Tang Bao just now. He might even want to kill him to silence him. The doctor went upstairs with fear and trepidation. When he entered the room, he put Tang Bao on in 4 drip. Tang Bao wanted to turn around and look for Di Hao Ian, but he didn't see anyone. Could he have gone to look for Lan Wanru? When she didn't see Di Hao Ian during the 4 drip, Tang Bao didn't dare to sleep. She was afraid that the 4 drip would run out. When she was young, she heard from her grandfather that if air went in, people would die. Although she knew that people wouldn't die, she was still afraid. She looked at the 4 drip one moment and then another. Especially when there was only a quarter of the 4 drip left, Tang Bao stared at it almost without blinking. Why didn't anyone enter the room? The living room next door was quiet. There should be no one. Someone, is there anyone here? The 4 drip is running out. Tang Bao shouted. Then, no one answered her. The room suddenly fell silent. Tang Bao turned around to look for her phone. She found it beside the sofa in the distance. It was a distance away from the bed. She couldn't reach it. Can anyone hear my voice? My 4 drip is running out. If it's over, I'll be done for 2. Is there anyone here? Tang Bao panted heavily after shouting. After all, she was still a patient. How could she have so much strength to call for help? Seriously, was the room soundproofing too good? Why was no one paying attention to her? I say, Tang Bao had just taken a break and was about to call for help again when a tall black figure suddenly appeared. Her breath went straight in her windpipe and choked her. Cough, 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 cough. Cough, 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 cough. What are you shouting for? Di Hao Ian's face darkened. Tang Bao's small face flushed red. She looked at Di Hao Ian with her watery eyes and pointed at the 4 drip. It's almost over. Di Hao Ian looked at her coldly and didn't say anything. Chapter 487. My grandfather said that air can kill people, Tang Bao explained in a low voice. Di Hao Ian ignored her and turned to leave the bedroom. Tang Bao was stunned. Then, she did not hear Di Hao Ian leave the room. Had he been in the living room the whole time? She thought he had just entered the room. So, Di Hao Ian had heard all her shouting just now? Tang Bao's pale face flushed red. No wonder Di Hao Ian's expression was so ugly. Did he have to treat her like this? But Tang Bao looked up at the four-drip. It was almost gone. After the doctor put Tang Bao on an four-drip, Di Hao Ian had been sitting in the living room in front of his computer. He was originally focused on the computer, but Tang Bao's shouting gave him a headache. If he had the strength, he should not have given her an injection. Di Hao Ian was not in the mood to continue staring at the computer. He walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, and the large expanse of roses outside came into view. Because the area was too big, almost half of the windows in the castle could see a corner of the rose garden. Although he could not remember the past, he knew that without his permission, there would not be this rose garden. He always thought that he might have had some feelings for Tang Bao in the past, but he could not resist his feelings for Lan Wanru. In the end, he chose to divorce her. He could see that Tang Bao was somewhat clever. If he wanted to do something to make her misunderstand, it was not impossible. Di Hao Ian raised his hand. In his hand was the crystal wolf puppy. He had always carried it with him, but he could not remember any fragmented memories. Who gave it to him? Di Hao Ian. The water is gone. Tang Bao's sudden shout made Di Hao Ian come back to his senses. He closed his dark eyes and opened them again. They were extremely fierce. He turned around and went into the bedroom. If you scream again, the next bottle will be empty, Di Hao Ian said gloomily. Tang Bao blinked twice and did not dare to make sound. Did Di Hao Ian need her to scream again and again? He knew better than her when the drip would end. Di Hao Ian really should have turned around and left. But if he did, in less than a minute, the Tang Bao would start shouting again. He didn't want to lose his patience over a bottle of four-drip. Therefore, he simply stood on the edge of the bed and stared at Tang Bao with his dark eyes. Tang Bao thought, "Why are you staring at me? Keep your eyes on the potion bottle." Tang Bao wondered if Di Hao Ian was not going to change the water for her and was just going to watch her hang in the air. Tang Bao looked at the needle on the back of his hand. "I'll just pull out the needle when it's gone. Di Hao Ian, who has lost his memory, won't feel sorry for me. Maybe he'll be in a better mood when he sees me screaming." How could there be such a scary person? How could Di Hao Ian not see through Tang Bao's thoughts? His dark eyes looked at her coldly and speechlessly. Moreover, he deliberately waited for the water in the bottle to reach the bottom. When Tang Bao was about to pull out the needle, he changed the bottle for her. Tang Bao's hand, which was about to reach out, paused. Then, she continued to reach out and scratch her face. She pretended that she only reached out because her face was itchy. Di Hao Ian pretended that he did not see Tang Bao's awkward little gesture. He could not be bothered with it. After changing the drip, he turned around and went out again. Tang Bao continued to lie on the bed. The drip had just been changed, so there was no need to worry about it running out so quickly. Her small face was pressed against the pillow. She knew that Di Hao Ian had not left the room and was outside in the living room. She thought about what happened in the hall. She thought that if she had not been quick-witted, the matter between her and Di Hao Ian would not have ended so easily, right? She had heard Di Hao Ian's words. After all, she had pretended to faint. In the future, Belle would not be in the castle. Then, should she find a chance to ask Lan Wanru to get lost? But Lan Wanru and Belle were different. Di Hao Ian would definitely not let Lan Wanru leave and never appear in front of him again. Tang Bao felt a little sad. She was the legal wife, but she was being threatened by a mistress. She even came to live in the castle. From the splashing of water, it could be seen that she could not gain any advantage in the battle between her and Lan Wanru. Could it be that she wanted to let this continue? Tang Bao believed that this time it was splashing water. Who knew what would happen next time? Di Hao Ian, do you really think that I directed and acted out the splashing of water? I didn't graduate from a drama school. I wouldn't do such a thing, Tang Bao said. She did not hear Di Hao Ian's response. But Tang Bao knew that Di Hao Ian must have heard her. He just did not want to talk to her. Di Hao Ian, actually, it's not that you don't trust me at all, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have sent me back to my room, right? Tang Bao knew that she was deceiving herself but she was willing to think so. She wanted to think on the bright side. Even if Di Hao Ian had lost his memory, he was still Di Hao Ian. At the most critical moment, he would not really do anything to her. Sitting on the sofa in front of the computer, Di Hao Ian's dark eyes moved slightly. Did he believe Tang Bao? He did not think so. It was just that when he saw Tang Bao fainting on the ground, he could not control his thoughts and walked toward her. He picked her up and carried her back to the room. What did this have to do with anything? Was it the relationship between husband and wife, or was something else? It was as if his body and mind were separate. They could not be merged together. I'm sorry, Di Hao Ian. I didn't mean to not come back for dinner last night. I just felt a little uncomfortable. You know what I feel like? Maybe you don't care about the pain in my heart, but I can't help it. I think that eating with Malay would make me happier. You don't know that from the moment you enter the operating room, my heart was as barren as a beach. Then it poured down, and it was full of holes. I just wanted to calm my emotions. I was afraid that if I came back for dinner, my emotions would be unstable. Tang Bao rambled on, as if she was talking to herself. Tears appeared in her eyes, slowly gathering and thickening. Di Hao Ian's dark eyes stared at the computer screen, but he did not see a single word. Tang Bao's voice came again, as if there was no wall between them. Di Hao Ian, if only you didn't lose your memory. Do you know that I regret going out on a trip alone? If I didn't go out, so many things that made me feel uncomfortable would not have happened. But I'm still glad that you are safe and sound now. Di Hao Ian, I will eat dinner in the castle next time. Even if I feel uncomfortable, I will eat. Di Hao Ian only felt that his heart began to hurt again, and the frequency became abnormal. What on earth had he done to make her say such things? He thought that no matter what Tang Bao said, he would not react. Chapter 488. I promised you that nothing would happen between me and Wanru before I lose my memory. It's just a meal at the dining table. You're thinking too much. Di Hao Ian's voice was unusually low and hoarse. There was a hint of reluctance in his response. However, after he responded, he did not hear Tang Bao's voice. Di Hao Ian's dark brows furrowed slightly. He put down the computer and stood up. He walked into the bedroom. She saw that Tang Bao had fallen asleep on his side on the bed. The left side of her face was pressed against the pillow. Tears flowed from one side to the other and then slid into the pillow, leaving a water stain. Di Hao Ian looked at the tears on her face and walked closer to the bed. He felt that the tears on her face were an eyesore, so he reached out to wipe away the tears. However, when he touched the tears, his heart trembled. Why did he feel that the tears were hot? Was it his imagination, or were they hot to begin with? A knock on the door brought Di Hao Ian back to his senses. The person who came in was Lan Wanru. He glanced at Tang Bao on the bed. He was obviously asleep. Then, why was Di Hao Ian standing on the bed? Brother Hao Ian, is Tang Bao okay? What did the doctor say? Lan Wanru asked with concern. Why are you here? I was worried about Tang Bao, so I came to see her. I've always been in poor health. I know that fainting is the most harmful thing to the body. I hope Tang Bao will be fine. She's fine. Then I'm relieved. Lan Wanru looked at Di Hao Ian and said, Brother Hao Ian, I've already asked Belle to go back. This kind of thing won't happen again. After all, I'm the one who brought her here. I'm also responsible. Also, I hope Brother Hao Ian won't be too angry about what Tang Bao did. Tang Bao also made a mistake because he cared too much about Brother Hao Ian. Di Hao Ian looked at Tang Bao, who was sleeping soundly on the bed, and did not say anything. After Tang Bao recovers, he will also understand. Just like in the past, she liked to ask for a divorce, but in the end, she still couldn't bear to leave Brother Hao Ian, Lan Wanru said. Di Hao Ian narrowed his eyes and said, Don't mention this again in the future. Lan Wanru was stunned. Which matter did not need to be mentioned again? Was it about the splashing of water or the divorce? But she wouldn't ask. I'll listen to Brother Hao Ian. When Tang Bao woke up, it was time for lunch. As soon as he regained consciousness, he immediately remembered that he was still on N4 drip and hurriedly turned his head to look. The needle in her hand had been pulled out. After a good night's sleep, he felt much better. She was completely unaware that Lan Wanru had entered her room. It was best that she didn't know. Otherwise, she would feel uncomfortable whenever she saw Lan Wanru. You woke up on time. The second person's voice in the room stunned Tang Bao. She looked over and saw Di Hao Ian sitting on the sofa. His chiseled face was very cold. Di Hao Ian, have you been here with me the whole time? Do you think I'm sitting here to accompany you? Di Hao Ian's dark eyes turned cold. This is my room. It was as if Tang Bao was the one who was living in the room. Tang Bao didn't argue with her about this. She looked at the computer in front of Di Hao Ian and felt that he really wouldn't stay in the room to accompany her. The Di Hao Ian in front of her was not the Di Hao Ian of the past. If it was the Di Hao Ian of the past, she believed that he would accompany her. Tang Bao couldn't help but admit that she missed the past. Di Hao Ian, I'm hungry. Tang Bao looked at Di Hao Ian pitifully. I'm really hungry, but I don't want to eat meat. It's really strange. Why don't I have any interest in meat now? I just want to eat vegetables now. Tang Bao said it as if it was true. Di Hao Ian looked at her expressionlessly. Don't you believe me? If you don't believe me, you can touch my stomach. It's flat. You have to know that I had porridge for breakfast. There were only a few grains of rice. Tang Bao continued to say pitifully. She was exaggerating. You mean you want me to investigate the kitchen? Di Hao Ian asked. Tang Bao looked at Di Hao Ian in shock. I just want to express that I'm very hungry now. How did Di Hao Ian know that she wanted to investigate the kitchen? Di Hao Ian glanced at her coldly, stood up, and left the bedroom. Tang Bao heard the sound of the bedroom door opening and closing. She knew that Di Hao Ian had left the room. Tang Bao sat on the bed in a daze, wondering when she would be able to eat lunch. A few minutes later, there was a knock on the door. Zhongli walked in with lunch. In the future, you will serve me every meal. Tang Bao requested. That's for sure. I mean that you will serve me after I recover from my illness, Tang Bao said. Zhongli was stunned for a moment. Then he understood and said, okay. Although Tang Bao had promised Di Hao Ian to go back to the castle for dinner, she felt that it was better to eat in the room. But after thinking about it, she shook her head and said, no, after I recover from my illness, I'll go to the dining room to eat. Young madam, you don't have to do this to yourself. Zhongli felt wronged, let alone Tang Bao. I'm not wronged, Tang Bao said as she ate the bland food. I just don't want to let Lan Wanru take advantage of me. Zhongli's eyes lit up and he said, young madam, I understand. I will cooperate with you. Tang Bao looked at Zhongli and smiled. I'm out of favor now. Why are you still helping me? No matter what happens to young madam, I will help her. If you hadn't taken the initiative to mention it, I don't know what my brother would be like now. I will be loyal to you for the rest of my life, Zhongli said sincerely. Don't worry. With you supporting me, I won't be defeated by Lan Wanru, Tang Bao said. That rotten chrysanthemum knows how to pretend to be gentle in front of the young master. You want to be gentle in front of the young master? The young master will definitely side with you. Rotten chrysanthemum. Am I not gentle? Tang Bao asked in confusion. Gentle. Forget it. Your eyes betray you. Tang Bao thought to herself. Was she not gentle enough? Spoke like Lan Wanru? Wasn't that too strange? Moreover, she had always been like this in front of Di Hao Ian. Or could it be that Di Hao Ian, who had lost his memory, needed a woman's gentle comfort? Why not give it a try? Tang Bao's body had not fully recovered yet. After lunch, she rested in her room. She went straight to bed. Before she went to bed, she was still thinking about how she should coax Di Hao Ian. At night, Tang Bao leaned against the head of the bed and watched Di Hao Ian walk into the bedroom. Her gaze followed wherever Di Hao Ian went. She was thinking about where to be gentle. She was not feeling well now. It would be easier to be gentle. Di Hao Ian ignored Tang Bao's gaze, took off his clothes, and went into the bathroom. He slammed the door. Chapter 489. Then, she could only wait for Di Hao Ian to come out. It was about time. Di Hao Ian came out of the shower, wearing pajamas. Brother! Di Hao Ian froze in his footsteps as he walked to the bed and looked at her. Tang Bao looked at Di Hao Ian affectionately and pretended to be gentle. Brother, I feel so scared when I sleep at night. Can you hug me to sleep? If you don't want to, I'm fine with it. As long as you're by my side, I'm very satisfied. Tang Bao felt that her voice was like water. Di Hao Ian lifted the blanket expressionlessly and got into bed. It was as if he did not know how gentle and considerate Tang Bao was at this moment. After Di Hao Ian got into bed, Tang Bao continued to say, "Brother, do you feel that your head is much better? Next time when you go for a checkup, I'll accompany you, okay? Otherwise, I'll be very worried about you. I'll be so worried that I won't be able to eat or sleep." After saying that, she tugged at Di Hao Ian's pajamas with her small hand. Di Hao Ian turned around with a cold face. Tang Bao blinked twice with her long eyelashes. Di Hao Ian finally reacted. "Speak human language." Tang Bao's forced gentleness on her face froze. She did not quite understand. "Brother, are you angry? Did I make you angry in any way? I'll change." Tang Bao's words came to an abrupt end. Because of Di Hao Ian's sharp gaze, Tang Bao's small face immediately deflated and returned to normal. She looked at Di Hao Ian and asked, "Don't you like my gentle look?" "No. Why? I thought you liked it." Tang Bao was puzzled. Di Hao Ian ignored her and played with his phone. Tang Bao looked at Di Hao Ian's phone. It was not the same as before. His phone must have been destroyed when he fell off the cliff. Her phone was also destroyed. Were the two phones considered to have perished together? Looking at Di Hao Ian's expressionless face, Zhang Li's idea didn't make sense at all. Or did he only like Lan Wanru's gentleness? Lan Wanru's gentleness was natural, but she wasn't. Tang Bao felt a little helpless and sad as he lay back under the blanket. His head was pressed against Di Hao Ian's body. He felt that this was the only way to feel safe. After all, his body had not fully recovered yet. Therefore, not long after closing his eyes, Tang Bao fell asleep. Di Hao Ian, who hadn't looked at her sleeping face. "I feel like a curled-up cat." In the morning, when Di Hao Ian came out of the bathroom after washing up, he saw Tang Bao, who had already gotten out of bed. "Can you get up now?" Di Hao Ian asked indifferently. Tang Bao turned around and looked at him. His eyes were bright. "Di Hao Ian, are you concerned about me?" "No," Di Hao Ian said and left the room. Tang Bao shouted at his back. "If it's not concern, then what is it? You'll make me misunderstand if you act like this." Di Hao Ian went out and slammed the door. Outside the door, Di Hao Ian's face was very dark. He shouldn't have been so nosy and asked. Lan Wanru, who was in the living room, saw Di Hao Ian come out. He stood up and walked up to him happily. "Brother Hao Ian, you're up? Why didn't you sleep a little longer?" Tang Bao walked up from behind and looked at him with disdain. He probably didn't mean what he said. Lan Wanru had just finished speaking when he saw Tang Bao behind him. The expression on her face froze. She didn't want others to see that she didn't want to see Tang Bao. She put on a gentle smile. "Tang Bao, you're up too? Are you feeling better? You scared me to death last night. Can I go downstairs if I'm not feeling well?" Tang Bao looked coldly at Lan Wanru's change in expression. He was really one in front of Di Hao Ian and another in front of her. "That's good. You really scared me to death when you fainted that day," Lan Wanru said as he clutched his chest. "Yeah, I didn't expect that I would faint like you." Tang Bao's eyes had a sly smile. Lan Wanru was slightly stunned. She had pretended to faint, but so had Tang Bao. Thinking about the situation that day, Lan Wanru began to realize that Tang Bao had done it on purpose. However, it seemed that Di Hao Ian didn't know about it. If he knew, why would he let her off so easily? However, Lan Wanru also knew that she couldn't tell Di Hao Ian about Tang Bao pretending to faint. Tang Bao probably wanted her to tell him. She wasn't that stupid. Tang Bao stepped forward and held Di Hao Ian's arm, saying, "Di Hao Ian, I'm hungry. Let's go and have breakfast." Then, she pulled Di Hao Ian to the dining room. Di Hao Ian's expression didn't look too good when she pulled him so impudently. However, what was even more incomprehensible was that he didn't shake her hand off. Lan Wanru, who was behind them, was so angry that her face was about to contort. Because Tang Bao had been chased away, she didn't even have anyone to tell her the truth when she stayed here. Now, Tang Bao was hanging on to Di Hao Yin and refused to let go. What was the meaning of this? Was Tang Bao preparing to retaliate against her? Was she going to chase her away like Tang Bao? She wouldn't let her have her way. With the three of them eating together and Lan Wanru joining them, Tang Bao would definitely feel uncomfortable. However, only by enduring for a while could she chase Lan Wanru out. Wasn't that right? Lian walked into the dining room and said to Di Hao Tian, "Young Master Di, young Master Gu is here." Di Hao Yan's dark eyes moved slightly. Young Master Gu Linshin? Gu Linshin walked into the dining room and saw the three of them in front of the table. His cold eyes swept over them indifferently and said, "I came at the right time. I didn't have breakfast either." Then he sat down next to Tang Bao. Tang Bao's face trembled. Of all places to sit, he chose to sit next to her. Her impression of Gu Linshin was really terrible. Instead of helping her, he was a bastard who hit her when she was down. Lian heard what she said and looked at Di Hao Yin, who didn't bat an eyelid, and turned to bring him breakfast. When breakfast was served, Gu Linshin picked up the cutlery and ate as if it was his own house. At this moment, his phone rang. Gu Linshin held a spoon in one hand and the phone in the other to answer the call. "Little uncle, where did you go so early in the morning?" Luo Luoli's voice came from the other end. "What's the matter? Didn't you not have breakfast? I was worried that you would be hungry." "I'm eating." "Little uncle, did you go out to eat good food? Why didn't you bring me?" Luo Luoli's voice immediately followed. "I'm going to the Gu family. Are you coming?" Gu Linshin's gaze was distant. Luo Luoli immediately fell silent. Gu Linshin hung up the phone and continued eating. It seemed that he came over just to have breakfast. Tang Bao didn't have to ask to guess who had called Gu Linshin. It was Luo Luoli. Tang Bao realized that Gu Linshin spoke differently to Luo Luoli. He had a different patience when speaking to Luo Luoli, even if his tone wasn't very good. "I didn't come to see you after you were discharged. It seems that you're recovering well." Gu Linshin glanced at Di Hao Yin indifferently and said, "I thought you were here for breakfast." Di Hao Yin said expressionlessly. Chapter 490. Tang Bao looked at Di Hao Yin's expression. His gaze was cold and sharp. "What are you trying to say?" "He didn't say anything? Isn't that right?" "That depends on who you choose." Gu Linshin smiled coldly and impudently. Then, without fearing Di Hao Yin's cold eyes, he continued, "I've already suffered enough by forcing myself to marry Tang Bao. Do I have to continue to suffer?" Tang Bao's eyes widened when she heard this. If it weren't for her patience, she would have smashed the bowl in her hand directly on Gu Linshin's face. Tang Bao stood up and said, "Gu Linshin, even eating can't stop you from talking. How can I eat breakfast if my mouth is blocked?" Gu Linshin asked disapprovingly. Tang Bao was so angry that she couldn't speak. Gu Linshin came here to cause trouble for her, didn't he? Originally, the atmosphere between her and Di Hao Yin was getting better. However, when he came, she felt that the problem had arisen again. Tang Bao hated Gu Linshin to death. However, if she did it too obviously, would Di Hao Yin think that she had a guilty conscience? But if she did nothing, wouldn't she be at a disadvantage? "Di Hao Yin, don't listen to his nonsense. How could you have forced yourself to marry me?" "No one can force you," Tang Bao said. Lan Wanru still spoke in a gentle tone and said, "Brother Hao Yin, no matter what happened in the past, it's all in the past. Don't think too much about it." On the other hand, Brother Hao Yin was already very angry when you took Tang Bao away. "Please don't bring up the past again." Di Hao Yin's cold black eyes moved, but no expression could be seen on his face. However, the atmosphere in the air was so oppressive that it almost swelled. Tang Bao glared at Lan Wanru angrily. He kept saying that it was for the good of Di Hao Yin, but he found an opportunity to talk about the past. He was really smart. It was only then that Gu Linshin looked at Lan Wanru. His cold, dark eyes carried a hint of ruthlessness as he said calmly, "Are you questioning me?" Lan Wanru averted his eyes from that sharp gaze and didn't say anything. Gu Linshin was a terrifying man. He could not be underestimated. Otherwise, he would not be friends with Di Hao Yin. Moreover, He entered the castle so calmly that he was completely fearless. Lan Wanru couldn't help but feel apprehensive. Di Hao Yin, who had been silent all this while, tilted his chiseled face slightly and looked sharply at Gu Linshan. His dark eyes were filled with hostility. Then he opened his thin lips and asked, "Are you full?" "No," Gu Linshan said. "See the guest out." Gu Linshan threw the spoon in his hand into the bowl and smiled faintly. "Enjoy your meal." Then he stood up and left. Tang Bao. How could this person make the atmosphere so tense and leave just like that? After Gu Linshan left, it was still the three of them eating. However, the atmosphere was obviously different. It was oppressive. Tang Bao looked at Di Hao Yin. Di Hao Yin ate his breakfast without saying a word. No one could tell what he was thinking. He was deep and unfathomable. However, there was a frightening coldness in his eyes. At this time, Tang Bao did not say anything. Lan Wanru was naturally not stupid enough to say anything either. There was only the sound of eating in the dining hall. Gu Linshan left the castle and got into the car. Di Hao Yin, I'm waiting to see how you look after you regain your memory. It's really boring to see how you look now. His cell phone rang. Gu Linshan took out his cell phone and glanced at it. He threw it aside and did not answer. When they arrived at the Gu residence, Gu Linshan got out of the car. When he entered the villa's inner hall, he saw Old Master Gu pacing back and forth with an obviously impatient expression. Gu Linshan walked over indifferently and sat down on the sofa, crossing his long legs lazily. "Didn't you hear me calling you?" Old Master Gu questioned. "I've already said it. What's the hurry?" Gu Linshan said indifferently. Old Master Gu was so angry that the flesh on his face trembled. He knew Gu Linshan too well. Gu Linshan had never been able to figure him out. Gu Linshan was always cold to him and would never listen to him. However, this matter had to be made clear to Gu Linshan. "How are you going to deal with Luo Meiwan?" Old Master Gu asked. "Didn't I say that you don't have to do anything?" "No way. The Gu family will never acknowledge Luo Meiwan. Don't even think about it." Gu Linshan raised his black eyes and glanced at Old Master Gu lazily. "I didn't ask you to acknowledge her. Then why are you letting her live in your house? Also, her daughter, Luo Luoli, is living in your mansion. What are you thinking? They have nothing to do with me and even less to do with you." Old Master Gu could not tolerate Luo Meiwan and her daughter. "It has nothing to do with you. It's my decision," Gu Linshan said. "No, you can't take them in." Old Master Gu was very stubborn. He was determined not to allow Luo Meiwan and her daughter to have anything to do with the Gu family. "I said, it's my decision," Gu Linshan emphasized again. "Then you're still my son." Old Master Gu was furious. Gu Linshan's face was cold. He took out a cigarette and bit it in his mouth without saying a word. He looked very indifferent. "Linshan, I don't understand. What kind of magic potion did Luo Meiwan and her daughter give you to take them in?" Old Master Gu knew his son too well. He was definitely not a benevolent person. Did he pity Luo Meiwan and her daughter? That was impossible. There must be a reason. "I'm just here to tell you that there's no room for negotiation." "You." Old Master Gu was furious. "If it's fine, don't call me over next time," Gu Linshan said and stood up with the cigarette in his hand. "Wait." Old Master Gu saw that Gu Linshan was about to leave and stopped him. He knew very well how difficult it was to deal with his son if he called Gu Linshan over. "Just say what you want. You can take in Luo Meiwan and her daughter, but you have to marry Xiang Ting first," Old Master Gu requested. "Do you think I'll agree?" Gu Linshan sneered. "If you don't agree, I'll keep repeating it until you do," Old Master Gu said. Gu Linshan frowned slightly, his eyes glinting. "How old are you? What do you want to do if you don't get married?" Gu Linshan didn't say a word. He didn't even look back as he left with the cigarette in his hand. Luo Luoli went to the bathroom after class. She went back to her desk and was about to play with her phone when she felt something in her bag. She took it out and saw that it was a letter folded in the shape of a heart. There seemed to be a fragrance. Luo Luoli pinched the heart-shaped letter and put it in front of her nose. It was indeed the fragrance of a letter. She didn't need to open it to know that it was a love letter. For her, Luo Luoli looked away but couldn't see who it was. Loli Luo was aware of her own appearance. However, ever since she revealed her white teeth, she noticed that some of the male students were looking at her strangely. Seriously, she only showed her teeth, but her face was still ugly. How did she get a love letter? Chapter 491. This was the first time she had received a love letter. It was a strange and inexplicable feeling. She didn't feel shy like a girl. Just as she was thinking about how to deal with the love letter in her hand, so as not to embarrass the boy, the bell rang. Luo Luoli immediately stuffed the love letter back in her bag. The teacher came in and listened attentively. She was in the second semester of her senior year, so she had to make the most of her time and study hard. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to go to university if she didn't do well. Her uncle would definitely not let her off easily. After the first lesson, Luo Luoli forgot about the love letter. When she got home, it was almost time for dinner. When she entered the living room, she didn't see Gu Linshin, so she asked the servant, "Where's my uncle?" Young Master Gu said that he had something to do tonight, so he won't be back for dinner. He also asked Miss to do her homework after dinner. Luo Luoli thought that no one would care about her. That was great. She hoped that her uncle would come back later, so that she could play for a while longer. After dinner, Luo Luoli went back to her room. She threw her bag on the sofa and began to play with her phone while turning on the television. Time passed quickly when it came to playing. Luo Luoli didn't notice the passing of time at all. When Gu Linshin got home, he opened the door and saw Luo Luoli curled up on the sofa, playing with her phone. Her bag was still lying beside her, untouched. It was obvious that she hadn't even taken out her homework. Gu Linshin's face immediately darkened. When Luo Luoli saw the person who opened the door, she was so shocked that she almost dropped her phone. Uncle, you're back?" Luo Luoli laughed dryly. "You're back early." "Early? What time is it?" "What time?" Luo Luoli looked at the time on her phone and said, "It's 10 minutes to 9. Have you finished your homework?" Luo Luoli suddenly remembered that she hadn't done her homework. She looked at her uncle's expression. Her heart sank. Oh no, it was over. Luo Luoli, who was caught red-handed, couldn't even find an excuse for herself. His brain was not working well. Gu Linshin walked towards Luo Luoli with an elegant yet dangerous gait. Luo Luoli pursed her lips nervously. His tall figure stood in front of Luo Luoli, oppressing her. "Didn't the maid tell you to do your homework?" Gu Linshin asked. "Yes, I did. If I said so, why didn't I do it?" "I forgot," Luo Luoli whispered. Gu Linshin's face darkened. "What are you waiting for?" Luo Luoli immediately became alert. She picked up her bag and sat down in front of the desk. He quickly took out the book. Something fell out of it. Luo Luoli tilted her head to take a look. When she saw what was on the ground, her little heart jumped in fright. She hurriedly picked up the things and wanted to stuff them back in her bag. "Give it to me," he said in a low and intimidating voice. Luo Luoli's little hand stiffened. She wanted to hide the thing in her hand. "It's nothing. It's just a little thing. Let me see." "There's nothing to see. Really, little uncle." "Do I have to repeat myself?" Gu Linshin's cold eyes were sharp. Luo Luoli bit her lip. After hesitating for a while, she braced herself and handed the heart-shaped letter in her hand over. It was as if she had been caught by her teacher and handed in the evidence of her crime. When Gu Linshin took the heart-shaped letter, he smelled a fragrance. He didn't need a guess to know what it was. He thought that writing love letters was popular in his era. Gu Linshin tore the heart-shaped object apart to take a closer look. Luo Luoli peered at it. She wondered if her little uncle was invading her privacy. It was as if he was peeking at a child's notes. Gu Linshin didn't care if it was an invasion of privacy. He calmly opened the letter and read it. There were 5 or 6 lines of words on one side of the paper. There was a boy's name at the bottom. Gu Linshin looked up from the paper and stared sharply at Luo Luoli. Luo Luoli's little heart trembled. She quickly looked at the textbook on the table and scratched at it with her little finger. "I sent you to school, but you fell in love right under my nose?" Gu Linshin's face was extremely gloomy. A fire of anger burned in his heart. Little uncle, I'm not in love anymore, Luo Luoli quickly said. When she saw Gu Linshin's dark eyes, she hurriedly explained, No, no, I'm not in love. I'm not in love. What is this? Explain. Gu Linshin shook the letter in his hand. I don't know, little uncle. When I found it, it was already in my desk, Luo Luoli said. You're not lying? Gu Linshin's black eyes stared sharply at her. No, no, I wouldn't dare. I'll go to the school to investigate. Try me if I find out that you're lying. I'm not lying, little uncle. I won't fall in love. This is the most important time for my studies. I can't neglect it. Also, little uncle, I think that a boy might have sent the wrong love letter. Luo Luoli giggled. I'm not good looking. Gu Linshin looked coldly at her red lips and white teeth. He thought, could this be the cause of the trouble? After all, no one had ever sent Luo Luoli a love letter before. Children these days were not even fully developed yet, but they already knew everything. If such a person was in the same classroom as Luo Luoli, wouldn't she be a bad influence? Absolutely not. Luo Luoli realized that her little uncle was just staring at her without any expression on his face. She didn't know if he believed her or not. But whether he believed it or not, she was not in love. Why are you in a daze? Do your homework. Gu Linshin knocked on the table. Luo Luoli hurriedly started to do her homework. Sigh. She didn't know when she would finish. Gu Linshin turned and left. He handed the letter in his hand to the bodyguard. Go and find out who this person is. Yes. Gu Linshin walked into Luo Luoli's room at almost 11 o'clock. She was still doing her homework. His expression was frighteningly ugly. Luo Luoli didn't even dare to raise her head. She was enveloped by the atmosphere. You have so much homework, but you're only thinking about playing the moment you come back. Gu Linshin reprimanded her like a strict elder. How much more have you not done? Not much. I'm almost done, Luo Luoli said. Gu Linshin didn't say anything. He stared at Luo Luoli until she finished her homework before leaving the room. The next day, she went to school as usual. She had classes in the classroom. When the class was over, the students were chattering away. Did you know? Ding Hui has transferred schools. Transferred schools? So suddenly? He was still in class yesterday. I didn't hear anything about him transferring schools. Why did he transfer schools? I'm not sure. Something big must have happened at home. Luo Luoli heard this and turned to look at Ding Hui's seat. Indeed, there was no one there. Chapter 492. Take your hands off. Gu Linshin ordered her. Luo Luoli shook her head desperately. Do you think I can't do anything to you just because you covered your mouth with your hands? Gu Linshin asked. Anyone who tried to use force would pull her hands down and hold them in their palms. No, little uncle, let go of me. Oh. Luo Luoli's long eyelashes fluttered. Her clear eyes were filled with disbelief. She was kissed? Or was it Gu Linshin? If it wasn't, then what was the soft warmth on her lips? Gu Linshin only wanted to scare her. He didn't expect her lips to be so sweet after kissing her. He couldn't help but become more aggressive. Yes, Luo Luoli tried to push Gu Linshin away, but she didn't have enough strength to resist him. Instead, she was kissed deeper and deeper. He pressed her hard against the wall. Luo Luoli, who was trapped, was at a loss. Her breathing was rapid, and her heart was beating wildly. She was so stimulated that she almost fainted. When Luo Luoli was about to faint due to lack of oxygen, Gu Linshin let go of her reluctantly. Luo Luoli lay weakly on Gu Linshin's firm chest. She gasped for air, and her bright eyes were filled with tears. Gu Linshin hugged her tightly. His breathing was heavy, and his ears were a little red. His eyes were deep. Luo Luoli, who had recovered, struggled to break free from Gu Linshin's embrace. She stood far away and said angrily to Gu Linshin, Gu Linshin, my first kiss was taken away by you. You're too much. It will be gone sooner or later. Gu Linshin said calmly. He was in a good mood as he looked at her swollen lips. He couldn't help but recall the sweetness. Gu Linshin looked at his watch. Do your homework after dinner. He then turned and left the bathroom. Luo Luoli was furious. she shouted at Gu Linshin's back. I won't call you uncle anymore. Whatever. Gu Linshin, Gu Linshin, Gu Linshin. Luo Luoli was met with the sound of Gu Linshin slamming the door. He really didn't care about anything. Luo Luoli looked at herself in the mirror in exasperation. Her lips were red and swollen. She thought about what Gu Linshin had done to her and covered her face with her hands. It was still very hot. Her first kiss was gone just like that, and it was taken away by Gu Linshin. This was the complete opposite of her plan to give her first kiss to a boyfriend in the future. How could this be? She did not want to eat anymore. He might as well starve himself to death. Gu Linshin sat at the dining table and waited for a long time. When no one came down, he instructed the maid, ask Luoli to come down. Tell her that I will continue with what I was doing just now if she doesn't want to eat. The maid did not know what was going on, so she just had to do as she was told. When Luo Luoli heard what the maid said, she was so angry that she wanted to kick her. But in the end, she still went downstairs because she was afraid of being hard. When she entered the dining room, she did not even look at Gu Linshin and sat down. Gu Linshin also ignored her and began to eat as usual. Luo Luoli reluctantly picked up her chopsticks to eat. She just ate the plain white rice and did not pick up any vegetables. If you don't want to eat, I will help you. No. Luo Luoli quickly picked up some vegetables to eat. She wanted to bury her face in the bowl. Gu Linshin looked at her, and his face was almost as big as the bowl. Then, he saw a black afro on top of the bowl. I'm done eating. Luo Luoli pushed the bowl away and stood up. Do your homework. Luo Luoli ignored him, left the dining room, and ran straight to her room. After entering the room, she slammed the door. She threw herself onto the bed in despair and kicked the pillows and blankets with her feet. She found out Gu Linshin had taken her first kiss without her consent, and he wasn't even apologetic about it. No, not at all. How could he do this? Pretend that nothing happened? Was such a serious matter as normal as eating a meal? It was not normal at all. Luo Luoli thought of something and got out of bed again. She went to the bathroom to freshen up. Half an hour later, her teeth were back to their previous unbearable state. After a night, in the morning at the dining table, Gu Linshin noticed the problem with Luo Luoli's teeth. It was hard not to see it. Luo Luoli deliberately bared her teeth at him. When Luo Luoli saw Gu Linshin's expressionless face, she thought to herself, I'll let you kiss me. Let's see if you dare to kiss me again. If she had known that Gu Linshin would kiss her, she would never have washed the stuff off her teeth. She regretted it so much that her intestines turned green. When Luo Luoli returned to school, she found that another boy in the classroom had transferred to another school. What was going on? Was a trend to transfer in the third year of high school recently? Could it be that transferring schools could get you into a good university? Luo Luoli also wanted to get into a good university and get as far away from Gu Linshin as possible. Even though she was already 18 years old, Gu Linshin still refused to let her go. Was he going back on his word? Or was he going to wait until after her birthday? After her birthday, she would not have graduated yet. How sad. In the afternoon, Luo Luoli fiddled with her phone and thought for a long time before calling Gu Linshin. Gu Linshin, I want to go back to my mother's place today. No. Just for one night. No. Half a night. No. Other than that, what else do you have? I won't allow it. Luo Luoli settled for the next best thing. Then I'll go to my mother's place for dinner. Okay? I haven't been to my mother's place for a week. Okay. Luo Luoli hung up immediately. Then she called Luo Meiwan and said that she would go over for dinner. Going to Luo Meijuan's place was not as strict as going to Gu Linshin's place. At Gu Linshin's place, the time she took to go to the mansion after class was counted. If she was even a minute late, Gu Linshin would hold her accountable. Therefore, go to Luo Meijuan's place was a way for her to relax. After class, she went to look for Red 7. Red 7 was basking in the dusk by the corner of the wall. Luo Luoli also squeezed to the side to bask in the dusk. Is it time to get off work? I'll get off work when the rush hour is over, Red 7 said. Then she turned to look at Luo Luoli. How have you been recently? Luo Luoli looked up and thought for a while. Then she asked Red 7, If a man kisses you, what does it mean? It depends on how he reacts after the kiss. What does he say? If he doesn't say anything and doesn't react at all, as if he's eating a meal, what does it mean? That's impossible, right? Maybe you didn't notice his reaction? Red 7 asked. I noticed. I even thought about it. He really didn't react at all. The first possibility is that he didn't take it seriously and kissed for fun. The second possibility is that he was very shocked, but he hid it because of his personality. Which one do you think it is? The first possibility, Luo Luoli said. Although Gu Linshan's personality was indeed deep and evil, kissing her wouldn't make him feel shocked, right? Their relationship was so awkward. He must have scared her by kissing her. Chapter 493. Before Red 7 could finish his words, Loli Luo, who was beside him, sat down on the ground. She quickly ran over and looked at Red 7 in horror. Don't tell me he's going to kiss me a second time. Don't you know? Some feelings are just so inexplicable. Crimson 7 said seriously. However, Luo Luoli didn't want to believe Red 7. She felt that Gu Linshan wouldn't kiss her a second time. At first, her teeth were pretty, but now they were very ugly. Gu Linshan wouldn't be able to kiss them. I say, who was it that kissed you? 7 asked. Anyway, it was someone from the school. Teacher, why was it a teacher? You're talking about a man, not a boy. Red 7 was a postdoc. She had more than enough intelligence. If it was really a teacher, such a beast can't be allowed to live. No, you're thinking too much. It wasn't someone from the school. Luo Luoli's eyes flashed. Red 7 saw that she didn't want to say anything, so she didn't ask anymore. Moreover, it seemed that she was hiding it for that man. Otherwise, she would have taken action long ago. Anyway, it's good that you know. Don't get bullied. If you're really bullied, I'm here. Don't worry. Red 7 said very loyally. Okay, even if she was bullied, no one could help her. That was Gu Linshan's bad deed. She couldn't even say anything to her own mother. The phone on his body rang. When she saw that it was Luo Meiwan, she quickly got up. I'm going back to eat. I'll see you next time. After saying that, she ran away. She didn't get home until almost 6 o'clock. As soon as she entered the house, she shouted, Ah, I smell. The word smell was stuck in her throat, because she saw Gu Linshan sitting on the sofa. Gu Linshan, why are you here? Luo Luoli asked. Luo Meiwan, who was standing behind her, pushed her and scolded her in a low voice. What are you shouting for? What was she shouting for? His name was Gu Linshan. She didn't want to call him little uncle now. Who asked him to kiss her? But the bitterness in his heart was unspeakable. When Gu Linshan heard Luo Meiwan's reprimand, he did not mind at all. It's okay. Calling me by my name is the same. Luo Meiwan found this situation very strange. It was fine if Gu Linshan didn't mind, but didn't Luo Luoli always call him little uncle? She didn't allow her to look for Gu Linshan. She even said that he was her uncle and insisted on looking for him. What was the situation now? Why couldn't she understand? However, now was not the time to think about this. She said to Luo Luoli, go wash your hands. It's time to eat. Luo Luoli went to the bathroom to wash her hands, while Luo Meiwan went to the kitchen to serve the dishes. Luo Luoli was making soap, and white foam came out of her little hands. The door behind her creaked. Luo Luoli turned her head and stopped washing her hands. She stared blankly at the tall figure leaning against the door. His black suit jacket was unbuttoned, and even the top button of his shirt was unbuttoned, revealing the sexy and wild lines of his muscles. He looked at her coldly with his dark eyes. What time did your class end? Gu Linshan asked. You don't have to go back to my place, so you don't have to go home on time. I went to Hong Chi's place, Luo Luoli said. Actually, she didn't have to tell Gu Linshan at all, because she was free to do whatever she wanted. She felt that Gu Linshan was controlling her too much. However, when the words reached her mouth, they became something else. She didn't have the guts to go against Gu Linshan. Why didn't you go before? Why did you have to go today? Gu Linshan continued to interrogate her. Of course I didn't want you to know. Gu Linshan, aren't you being too overbearing? I didn't do anything. Why are you interrogating me? Can't ask? Are you all grown up? Luo Luoli was speechless. Why did it seem like she had committed a heinous crime when she went to Hong Chi's place? Wasn't it too unfair? Luo Luoli, are you done? Luo Meiwan called out. Luo Luoli came back to her senses. I'm done. Then, she quickly washed the foam off her hands. She lowered her head and walked past Gu Linshan. Every nerve in her body was very careful. It was as if she was afraid of being destroyed. She walked into the dining room. The food was already prepared. However, she didn't dare to sit down. She waited until Gu Linshan sat down before she sat down. Luo Luoli originally wanted to talk to Luo Meiwan about some intimate things. Now that Gu Linshan was here, it was difficult for them to even breathe. After the meal, Gu Linshan went to the balcony to smoke. Luo Luoli was pulled aside by Luo Meiwan and asked, "Did anything happen between you and your uncle?" Luo Luoli's heart skipped a beat. However, she still pretended to be confused. Nothing happened. Why? Why do you ask? I keep feeling that something is not right. Also, don't call me by my name. What's wrong with that? Luo Meiwan reprimanded her. Luo Luoli felt wronged, but she couldn't say anything. Did you forget when your uncle gave you food and money? We can't be ungrateful, understand? Luo Meiwan had done something that she especially regretted in the past. Therefore, she couldn't let Luo Luoli do the same thing as her. It would be too late to regret it. Luo Luoli finally understood the true meaning of the saying, when you take advantage of someone, you have to admit it. Luo Meiwan didn't want Luo Luoli to continue staying by Gu Linshan's side. It didn't mean that Gu Linshan wanted to leave after helping her and Luo Luoli. Instead, it made her think of old Master Gu. Although Gu Linshan said not to care, how could she really not think of anything? She was afraid that old Master Gu would look for Luo Luoli. Let me ask you something. What is it? Has anyone looked for you recently? Luo Luoli wondered if he was referring to Lin Xianting. However, Lin Xianting wouldn't dare to look for her again, right? Because she had met Gu Linshan at that time. Gu Linshan was very scary. No one looked for me, Luo Luoli said. Luo Meiwan heaved a sigh of relief. She could be mocked and ridiculed by old Master Gu, but Luo Luoli was still a child. She definitely couldn't let her suffer. Mom, what's wrong? Luo Luoli felt that her mother was even stranger than she was. Nothing. Why didn't you tell me that your youngest uncle was coming for dinner today? I didn't prepare anything. Luo Meiwan blamed her. What should I have prepared? What hasn't he eaten before? Luo Luoli said with a pout. You can say that, but you can't do that. Luo Meiwan looked around the luxurious apartment and said, I've already found a good job and am preparing to move out of here. Does youngest uncle know? Luo Luoli asked. It was better not to call him by his name in front of her mother. Otherwise, she would be scolded again. If I tell him, he will definitely ask me to continue living here. However, I can't be so tactless. So, I'll wait until I find a good rental apartment and move there before telling him. Luo Luoli felt that this was a good idea. Chapter 494. When the sky was completely dark, Luo Luoli left with Gu Linshan. Luo Luoli felt like she was in a mansion because Gu Linshan was there. After getting into the car, Luo Luoli asked, Gu Linshan, why are you here? To eat. Luo Luoli didn't believe that he was here just for a meal. She glanced at Gu Linshan unhappily. You're here to watch me, right? Why are you asking if you already know? Why do you have to watch me? I'm not a child. I already told you on the phone that I'm coming to eat at my mother's place. I won't get lost, right? Luo Luoli said. If you won't get lost, then why don't you come home? If your mother didn't call you, what time are you going to go home? Gu Linshan asked coldly. Why are you asking this again? Luo Luoli felt wronged. Can I ask? Or do you not realize your mistake? Luo Luoli felt that she would never dare to be late again, even if it was at her mother's place. She was almost traumatized by Gu Linshan. I won't be late next time. It's good that you know. In the future, you have to tell me wherever you go. Otherwise, I'll punish you for staying out all night. Aren't you being too strict? Luo Luoli had never been disciplined like this before. She felt that even if her father was alive, he wouldn't be so strict with her. She didn't have any freedom at all. There are times when I'm even stricter. Then you kissed me. How does that count? Luo Luoli said indignantly. Gu Linshan's actions were much more serious than hers. Why didn't he reflect on himself at all? Instead, he was more strict with her than before. What kind of logic was this? Is that so? Gu Linshan sat lazily in the seat with his long legs crossed. He looked at Luo Luoli indifferently. Then you should be mentally prepared. Mentally prepared for what? Luo Luoli asked, puzzled. Not only will I kiss you now, but I will also kiss you in the future. Luo Luoli widened her eyes in shock, but her body instinctively retreated. You're joking, right? The next second, Gu Linshan told Luo Ali whether he was joking or not. He stretched out his arm and clasped the back of Luo Luoli's neck, pulling her closer to him. Luo Luoli's little mouth was blocked, tightly intertwined, the way men and women kiss. Luo Luoli almost suffocated, and the blood in her body froze. Before she could react, Gu Linshan had already returned to his seat. His expression was normal as he looked at her with his dark eyes. Luo Luoli stared at Gu Linshan as if her eyes had turned rusty. Gradually, his breathing began to function autonomously. Can't you see that my teeth are ugly? Luo Luoli finally found her voice, but it was trembling uncontrollably. I saw it. Then why did you kiss me? Isn't one kiss enough? Luo Luoli rebuked him angrily. If you scream again, I'll block your mouth with my mouth. Gu Linshan threatened her. Luo Luoli stuffed her fingers into her mouth and bit them to vent her anger. At this moment, her heart was breaking down. Isn't it dirty? Gu Linshan frowned. Not as dirty as you. Luo Luoli was furious. What did you say? Gu Linshan's face darkened. Isn't it? You always go to the bar to look for women and kiss so many women. I've never kissed a man, and it was my first kiss. Luo Luoli felt more and more wronged as she spoke. How did Gu Linshan steal her first kiss? She couldn't understand how this had happened. Gu Linshan's eyes flashed at Luo Luoli's words, and he looked out of the car window. He had gone to the bar, not to look for women. However, there was no need to tell Luo Luoli the truth. She wouldn't understand, even if he told her. I won't kiss other women in the future. Gu Linshan only said this. After saying this, he couldn't help but frown. Why did he have to promise Luo Luoli this? It's none of my business whether you kiss other women or not. You can't kiss me. Luo Luoli was on the verge of crying, and her lips were pursed. It's not up to you to resist. Luo Luoli was frightened by Gu Linshan's vicious insistence. She hit the car door and said, I want to get out, stop the car. Gu Linshan looked at her coldly and said, You can jump out of the car. Luo Luoli didn't dare to jump out of the car. It was fine if she jumped out and died, but if she was crippled, wouldn't she be better off dead? Thinking of her crippled appearance, she was scared out of her wits. However, without Gu Linshan's permission, the car wouldn't stop at all. It kept speeding. Luo Luoli stood by the car door and looked at Gu Linshan warily. She said pitifully, I want to go back to my mother. I want to live with her. I don't want to go back to the mansion. It's too late to leave now. I couldn't even chase you away back then, so don't leave. You're not a bandit. Why can't I leave? Luo Luoli said pitifully, I'm a bandit. I didn't see it. It's not too late to see it now. Luo Luoli wanted to cry, but no tears came out. It was too late. If she had known that he was a bandit, she wouldn't have sent herself to him. Luo Luoli sulked the whole way. Gu Linshan didn't say anything. He was in a good mood as he watched her sulk. The car arrived at the entrance of the mansion. Just then, a servant walked over and said, Young Master Gu, old Master Gu is here. Gu Linshan's eyes narrowed. He actually came here. Luo Luoli, who was walking behind Gu Linshan, was stunned. She immediately understood who the old Master Gu was. It was the person who had adopted her mother. As Gu Linshan walked in, he felt that the person behind him wasn't following him. He turned around and saw Luo Luoli standing there. Gu Linshan, should I leave for a while? Luo Luoli asked. No need. Then I don't want to go in either. Gu Linshan saw how nervous she was and didn't force her. Go to the car and wait. Okay. Luo Luoli turned around and ran to the car. Then she got into the car. Luo Loli sat in the car and watched as Gu Linshen walked into the mansion and disappeared. It wasn't that Luo Loli didn't dare to see old Master Gu. It was that she didn't want old Master Gu to see her in this state. He already had a bad impression of her mother. If he saw his daughter in this state, would he dislike her even more? Therefore, she couldn't let old Master Gu see her in this state. Old Master Gu, who was waiting in the hall, saw Gu Linshen walk in alone. He couldn't help but look behind him. "You came back alone? Why are you looking for me?" Gu Linshen didn't answer old Master Gu's question. "When are you going to get married?" Old Master Gu asked. Gu Linshen's expression turned ugly. "As long as you agree to get married, I won't interfere in your affairs anymore." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.